Let's take a look at the events. It's fine. I told you I was going to be the villain. There's other things going on as well for you guys at home if you're watching along. You can go for the Pick'em Challenge, which is currently going on in-game, and we also have Twitch drops as well as the Pick and Go that's going on if you're watching over at Twitch. You can get paired with people, and then you potentially win some EP if you are successful in your endeavors. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. It is time to just get ready and ramped up and good to go here for the game. So without further ado, this is the lower bracket.
Команды на этом турнире были сильнее, чем я ожидал. Я был не очень разборчив.
A bit disappointed, but I mean, there's lots of opportunities for us to still get to the grand final, and we're going to make sure we take them.
一段的失误并不重要，进入到决赛才是最重要的。
Sau khi trải qua được nhiều lần thất bại thì đến bây giờ chúng tôi mới được học cách để chiến thắng.
Only winning, that's the only dream I want. It won't be easy, but I don't think it's impossible.
Tecrübeli ve güçlü bir takım olduğumuz için bizi sürpriz bir takım olarak görüyorlar. Hedefe giden yolda fokusumuzu hiçbir şey bozamaz.
It didn't work out exactly how we wanted it, but it's okay. We have the losers bracket, round 2. Let's see what we can do, and I hope you enjoyed the show.
여러 가지 시도를 했는데 이제는 틀이 잡혔어요. 집중만 한다면 저희를 이길 수 있는 팀은 없습니다. 끝날 때까지 포기하지 않고 매치 하나하나 최선을 다할 거예요.
PGC is not easy. It doesn't always go the way I want it to. There wasn't a single moment when it was easy. We're gonna play as we always do.
我们会再次夺得冠军，不会把冠军让给其他队。这里没有队比我们厉害。
And here we are, we finally made it, Paper Thin. We are at PGC, and we are coming in at an amazing part in this, as it's going to be a lot of pressure. Yesterday's games were nuts. That last game, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, and you know that that's the way these next set of games are going to go.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it before in PGC history. I mean, you and I were there for the FaZe game back in 2019. Yep. It almost feels like this event has the makings of another big one. I mean, we've seen so many great plays across so many different regions. Now we've got the APAC region starting to really come into form. So everything's on the line. I'm really excited for these games today.
There's a lot of, I would say, dark horse teams that we were looking at beforehand that are really starting to find their legs, some strength coming into this, and I think that it's just going to be a chance for them to continue to show those successes, because we all know nobody is wanting to go into that grand survival, because that is going to be a bloodbath. So now it's all about how fast did you manage to get together your drops, your study on what you're going to be going through, and how fast can you adapt, because that is the name of the game in these next 2 days.
Yeah, 4 spots. That's it. That's all that's available. This is the first time where it's really that much pressure to be performing at that high of a level. Before, you can kind of say, well, we just got to get top 8, top half, and then we can kind of maybe move on to the next stage or whatever. Otherwise, you got to go into that grand survival. You got to win a game, in the next couple of days to get through, right? So, dude, this is going to be tough. It's going to be really intense.
And I just got to follow up. Yes, the desk was talking about it. As you guys have probably seen the overall leaderboard for Fantasy, make sure you get a very expensive player and make them the captain, because that didn't work so well for me. That's my first time to say, like, I'm not really defending my fantasy score, because, yeah, I'm where I'm at for a reason.
Yeah, you can't, yeah.
I went through the group stage with the balanced style, and it didn't necessarily go the best. But as you can see, everything is getting ready for our first game of the day. We've got all the lights on, and we're going to be moving into it, and it is time to go. Away we go.
All right, Erangel. And it's going to be 3 Erangels, 2 Miramars today, so it's a little bit heavy on the northern side for this plane path, but not too bad. And I mean, it's been a really interesting series of events. I've gotten a lot of, since we had an extra day, I got here a little bit early to come and talk to a lot of the players and a lot of the teams. And I'd say the kind of the big name of the game is adaptation. A lot of teams are
Так, ребята, добрый вечер.
they're not used to certain teams playing a certain way or being in a certain position. I mean, a lot of teams are going to point out to like a team to like Buriram, right, which is always going to be kind of a thorn in the side.
Походу немножечко перебрал с усилением.
You never know what they're going to do.
You don't talk about my Buriram that way.
I'm not saying bad things. I'm just saying you got to watch out for them.
Так, всем добрый вечер, всем здравствуйте. Скажите, пожалуйста, как меня слышно? Ничего не жужжит, не дребезжит, не пердит. Вообще должно быть жужжание, от которого я до сих пор не смог избавиться, когда стримлю через стрим ПК. Так что не уверен. Все хорошо? Ну чё, у нас вторая сетка лузеров. В этой сетке лузеров из нее выходит топ-4 команд. Остальные отправляются играть Last Chance. Так что единственная команда, за которую мы болеем в этой группе, это Question Mark, которые очень плохо отыграли групповую стадию. Вылетели в лузера. И вот теперь мы за ними наблюдаем. Я надеюсь, Валентин на скубе подойдет. Я вроде как с ним договаривался, что он тоже придет. Я до стрима съел хурму, которая слегка так вяжет. Говорить капец как сложно. Капец, просто рот не открывается. А еще у меня какой-то треск от комментатора. Это у него или у меня, не знаю. Хочу себя послушать, как я звучу. Ну, отличный звук, кстати, нормальный пойдет. С кайфом. Не вслушивался я, конечно, но... Капец, губы связала, во рту все связала. Не самое приятное, конечно, да. Так, кто смотрел сетку лузеров первую? Это у нас вторая. Кто у нас уже точно с турнира вылетел? Есть инфа у вас, ребят? Вот пацаны без лут сидят, загорают, ждут тиммейтов, я так понимаю. А пушить не пушат 2 в 1. Непонятно, чего ждут, потому что сейчас подъедут тиммейты, которые уже залутаны, и... А, Бурирама, походу, Бурирама никто не будет спасать. И... BBL просто хотят собраться вчетвером, чтобы... А, ну у него ДБС. What? Найс. Бурирамы подъезжают, надо быстрее туркам что-то делать.
He is just waiting. There's a ton of BBL in here, and he's just waiting for this door to open. Being patient with it. Buram is at least feeding that information over. And look, all 4 in here right now, and he's playing the old school PUBG game of just
Никто не открывает эту дверь, да? Но они понимают, что он тут. Отлично сыграно от BBL. И вот это молик Нордера. Найс. Хорош. Бурирамы вообще хз. Подпивасы какие-то. Люминосити выбыли и ПП... Подожди, одна команда только выбывает. Как две-то? Не понял. Самая последняя топ-16 команда предыдущей сетки лузеров выбывает. Если я не ошибаюсь.
This is the Burram way, right? You don't care if you die. You at least got to shoot as many things around you as possible. That's why.
Так, подожди.
I mean, we see them make some crazy plays. Yeah, they make the games interesting.
Или там 8 команд... Подожди. 8 команд выбывает, и Z... Подожди. Что-то у меня поломалось. О, бой. Нет, из предыдущего... Из предыдущей сетки лузеров 8... Подожди. 8 команд отправили сюда, 8 в Last Chance. Отсюда 4 выходят. Остаются 12 команд. И какая-то одна, по-моему, то ли из этой сетки лузеров, то ли из той должна была выбывать вообще. По крайней мере, так было описано в этом. В их системе проведения. Это что такое? А, это его тиммейт. He's just a phenomenal individual player. His mechanics are through the roof. I did that little PGC Kings episode, and he was by far the best. Надеюсь, в этом лобби Куэмы себя будут чувствовать вполне себе неплохо. То есть можно сказать, что сильнейшие команды у нас остались в финале. Может быть, им сейчас будет попроще. Как бы... Что тут у нас есть? Ликвиды, Соники. Фейзы, энтропики. Энтропики вообще отвратительно играли последние турниры, так что... Перо есть, Нью Хэппи есть. Блин, ну... Oh, my heart is torn on this one because Neelip's on my fantasy. Oh, God, Axie! He takes himself out. No one can take down Burram. Only Burram. Ну, он без колес тормозить не мог. Ни хрена у чувака пульс. Люминосити уже точно все? Понял. I love it. I love it. Well, you know, Entropic, man, I gotta say, I was going back and rewatching the VODs from the Losers 1 bracket, and I'm really impressed with the way Entropic approached it. They didn't get any chicken dinners, but they were doing a really good job of avoiding fights early. You know, a lot of these teams are wanting to play edge in this tournament, and they're getting caught up. У нас, получается, с вами эта сетка лузеров тоже играет 2 дня по 5 матчей. Потом у нас получается перивчик, по-моему, выходных 2, и все, и финал. А, Last Chance еще, наверное, потом перив. И финал 3 дня. Two on each side, one in the back. The one in the back takes the bullets, the other two can step in for it. That's actually like that's like how SWAT teams take it. Yeah, exactly, right? You covering it from multiple angles, so at worst you lose one, and that's what happened. So, great point, you know, a great. Где вонючая псина? But to go over to Entropic real quick, I want to give them a lot of credit because when I was watching their rotations, they'd go somewhere safe early, they'd avoid fighting, and then in the late game, they'd try to you know, positions that are going to be really advantageous for the end of it. So, like, for example, you get down to, like, phase 5, phase 6, a lot of times low ground can actually be better in some ways than high ground because you're able to avoid some of the fighting. You know, a lot of other people are going to be gunning for that high ground, and that gives you a little extra cover as you're going up. And so, like, they'll rotate into that position where they're able to kind of gatekeep the other teams from them and, you know, get a lot of kills. Ну, посмотрим на эту мощную ротацию New Happy. Куда там будет прок? Коимы у нас отлично сидят. Сейчас где-то, наверное, будут стакаться. Я не знаю даже где. Едут к пацанам в кемп, которые на змее там, под болотом, да, вроде. Минус ликвиды, походу, сейчас будут. А, Тиглтон тут один. Нихера себе он тут разбирается с пацанами.
Clip gets him down, but here are the Sonics reinforcements.
Yeah, Shrimzy and Mime gonna roll through, throw a smoke at the door.
Ну,
Finish off the last two members. Shrimzy cooking.
он был не один, они просто убили Хвина.
Petrichor Road also involved with New Happy off screen, but this fight oh so important. Should be able to get the res, I believe. Although I say that, Overpeakers are on their horse. Mime has to hold this.
I love this from Overpeakers coming out, making sure that they make the push around this, not giving a chance for the res. Now having to make the assault into the building though.
Minus клип, остался Джимс только. Этого токсика надо уничтожить нахрен. Сюда!
It's going to be Sonics that take down Overpeakers.
And this is Tiggleton just doing a phenomenal job here early. Over to Big Pa. Savior's going to get run over. I think he drove into Big Pa territory and paid the price there. A little bit of a, maybe a lack of information on that. Not exactly. Just trying to drive by.
Так, у нас Перо прямо на дозе заезжает. А куда? Они сместились вообще на Папич, что ли? Хорошая хая... Не хорошая, перелетела. Будут выходить убивать? Походу не будут выходить. А зачем тогда он все это раскинул и... Вряд ли он будет там дальше доигрывать до конца с ними. Так, ребят, не забывайте лайком поддержать на ютубчике. Вышли все-таки КУМы, ну это правильно. Ног дали, правда уже поздно. Ребята уже поднялись, и тут надо... Еще один ног? Не смог. А, Дос сейчас сам улетит. Нет, его задефали. Ну, квешн-марки тут должны Перо уничтожить. Тут у них позиционное преимущество, на мой взгляд. Еще и назят Петриком. Все, видимо, будут КМы отходить или что? But still keeping an eye in that direction. They've got to be careful as well as there's still a lot of moving factors that are going on around this fight. Most notably, we have like the Expendables. Решили отойти.
That's going to be to the north. Tropics also in a very similar angle to this one. So nobody wants this fight to go on for too much longer. So it looks like QE's just going to step back.
Ну, 2 поинта забрали. Единственное, сейчас не потерять бы никого на перебежках. Вот это вот. Onto this fight, but yeah, QM out of there. You know, they got their 2 kills. That's good. They can retreat back to the safety of the compound. Keep Petrichor Road pinned in a worse position. Circle. В принципе, предыдущий кемп, в котором они сидели, да, выглядит сейчас интереснее, чем этот. И разыгрывать с него тоже, в принципе, там не так уж и плохо. А вот с этого кемпа у них там болото вокруг, горы вокруг, ну не знаю. Ой, Тиглтон! Женжан вылетел. Вот. Врезался неудачненько в сено. Но Тиглтона тоже уничтожили. Вот что значит, не надо было драйвбаить, да?
They're going to go for the shark fin compound here, see if they can get through. It's going to be TE on the defense, and these guys have been absolutely insane with the ARs.
Oh, Yanli, this is not the
Янли один остался из гексов. Ну, сейчас он приедет куда-нибудь, помрет.
Now we're going to have to see how Expendables managed to hold the defensive line.
Well, this guy right here, 777, has been absolutely phenomenal for the Expendables this event. Was one of the 5 players in Losers 1 that did over 3,000 damage throughout it. So this guy, he can pop off, and you got to be real careful whenever you know he is around. Smell as well, playing very, very good. So.
Блин, такой маленький FPS на стриме трансляции, что у меня аж башка немножечко поехала. Слишком неплавно.
back over here in the northeast, it's going to be New Happy that's lined up, but there is a strong line just to the north of them, and that's going to be Wildcard. That seems like they are familiar with where the position is going to be coming out from this one.
Давайте вайлдкарты, помирайте уже. Блин, New Happy, конечно, наблюдать во второй сетке лузеров, но... Они там же на сопельках не прошли, там же вообще просто на таких сопельках. Ну, минус Шримзи это. Хотя там пытается отходить, но должен умирать он сейчас. Майм на себя стянул какое-то внимание. New Happy потеряли еще одного мужчину на халяву. Подловить. Шримзи все-таки нокнули. Коэмы в итоге не в зоне, им надо уничтожать перо и разыгрывать потом с места перо. Но если они сейчас начнут рано драться, там фейзы в спину приедут.
Never realized they were there until they were probably about, I don't know, 25 meters away from him. And by that point, the trap was sprung. And Wildcard, I talked to their coach, Snooper, before the match today. And he was saying, you know, we just got to be more disciplined with when we take fights, how we take fights on the edge. We're still going to play edge, but we're going to be a little bit more proactive. And in this case, this is a nice measured amount of proactiveness. They catch New Happy completely off guard.
I mean, whenever Wildcard gets into thetheir groove, they can make some...
Куда-то и сейчас заедут. Такое ощущение, как будто они намереваются куда-то вбуриться прям вот. Даже не чекают. Вообще. Ну, в очень такую терпильную позицию приехали ребята, в которой сейчас играть будет невозможно нафиг. Ого! Ой, хорошо пострелял, чувак. Ну, типа тут церберусы сидят. И с этого кемпа вот это ешки херачат. Типа, ну там очень сложно им. Энтропики просто... Посыпка произошла. Лукарукс выпадать должен. А Айвас как сдох? Айвас... Что? Его сбила машиной тиммейта, которого вывели из тачки или что? Я понять не могу. Солидно. BBL там живут, фармят. У BBL там сколько уже? Уже 5 фрагов у BBL. Соники 6 тем временем делали. Ну нормально, 6 поинтов как бы пойдет. Не с нулем умирают. Куда? Коэмы, в общем, ждут закрытия зоны. Как раз вот тут Густав подъехал. Отлично высадили Густава. И сейчас дальше пойдут разыгрывать с перо, играть, и никто им в спину нозить не будут. Вот в этом случае, в этой зоне у Коэмов пока все отлично вообще. На горе у них слева никого нет, они просто одни с этой части сейчас будут играть. И это хорошо, видите, в предыдущих лобби им так не давали играть. Они всегда играли вот так вот, придерживались от края, но в предыдущих лобби немножечко команды иначе играют, и вот эта вот их стратегия, она просто не работала. Они никого убить не могли, они никого закрыть не могли. Нави уже в финале. Это сетка лузеров. Церберусам надо на тайлу выходить, Коэмам, в свою очередь, надо дофармливать перо. Желательно, конечно, без потерь. Все-таки 2 в 4 играют. И надо побыстрее, что... Ай-яй-яй, минус филл ферст, но у нее есть размен. Мин кидает хае. Отлично, без потерь. Сейчас разрезают филдферста, лишь бы фейзы не занозили там спину, не зафармили его. А Церберусом сейчас очень тяжело будет проходить вперед.
Who's got Cerberus under his sights with the SLR, popping some decent damage, but decent amount of smokes as well, covering Cerberus' position. Now it's time for the grenades to rain for Tyloo. Sia.
Все, ребята, засмочили и... А Доус еще в сторону фейзов играет. При этом дофармил Диггери. Минг там назид Церберусом, которым и так надо идти, которые и так там не очень хорошей ситуации. Здесь КДФ файтятся с фейзами, и коэмы подсасывают фраги. Это хорошо для коэмов. Хорошо Эдди с вертухана нокнул чувака. Вообще под это можно играть коэмом на самом деле. Потом в дальнейшем, если они освободят вот эту часть карты для себя сейчас, для них потом все вообще просто будет, на мой взгляд. При этом у них есть транспорт Перо, они свою машину туда подогнали. Минг теперь начал Тайлу фармить, уже 2 в ноке от Тайлу. А, 3 чувака из Тайлу в ноке. Церберусы заходят, они фулл составом живые. Серьезно, Церберусы полностью выжили, Тайлу рассыпались, но это понятно, что Тайлу там в бутере стоят, но все равно Церберусам идти надо. Как Тайлу так все? Неужто Минг все это зарешал? Но если бы на месте Минга стояла целая команда, там бы вообще без шансов. Но это было хорошо. А Доут второй дроп зачем-то лутает. Не пошли коэмы дальше с КДФами драться, КДФы разрезались. Ну и прок. Есть ощущение, что верхний хардшифт будет. Частенько я такое видел, но тут наоборот. Тут наоборот, слушайте, и у коэмов все хорошо. На мой взгляд. У BBL тоже все прекрасно, у них там отличная ЛГ, они там будут... Главное, вот команды, которые сверху могут назить, это Церберусы, плюс вайлдкарды, плюс еще Сольника Минга, вот их... Они будут заходить в этот кемп, я думаю, потому что лево-право они играть не могут. Хотя в кемп они тоже заходить не могут, только заезжать, если и то так себе на $0.50 это. Сильно крутить они не могут. Да у них вариков нету. Церберусы тут тоже играть не могут, им надо дальше проезжать. Вообще в идеале тоже под папич куда-то, наверное, играть. Не знаю. Потому что на рельеф они играть не могут. Вайлдкарты от Минга отваливаются. Одного уже точно он не подымет. Ай, Минга забрали, и сейчас, может быть, даже он его... Не, он там не резнет, я думаю. Куда поехал он? Он поехал в спину Церберусом? Нет, он поехал сюда под Мэншн, но это смерть его. Он еще жив, вы понимаете? Он еще жив! Алло! Нормально он приехал. Ну вот они, Церберусы, приехали. Не знаю, на что они надеялись. Они, ну, должны были куда-то сюда играть. Это единственный их шанс был. Либо вот куда этот мужчина из вайлдкартов приехал, в принципе, они могли и туда приехать, да, разыграть отсюда. DuckJuice's gonna come around. He's gonna have a pretty decent idea, but Kyle gonna stand up and try to fight this. Not gonna happen. DuckJuice good for it with the barrel.
All right, so 5 teams up, and it looks like BBL is trying to use this opportunity to sneak in on that eastern front.
Коми у нас нафармили уже 7 поинтов, это хорошо. 7 фрагов, точнее, и 10 поинтов. Уже поинты за плейсмент команды получили, я так понимаю. По 3 поинта каждая.
Tunneling down on top of BBL for BGP, and then somebody's got to be on TE watch to make sure that they're not going to reach out of this building. But instead, TE, they're going to
Ну, BBL тут будет сложно. Скорее всего, никак. Почему они не играют в поле, я не знаю. Такое ощущение... А, ну по полю они не могут играть тоже.
It's going to favor Big Old Pot. Now, how are we going to see the movements coming out? We know that the south is going to be a firing line, but up in the north, it's going to be a lot more about how BBL decides to make their move.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, BGP just needs to start hitting these.
Скуп алкаш пришел, блин. Так, я не понял, а чё у тебя же права есть, клоун?
Сам ты алкаш. Почему эту субботу выпить нельзя?
И что, ты пошел за бухлом и хочешь сказать, что после глобала ты не хочешь играть в паб?
Как вас клоунов пьяным-то тащить?
Ясно.
Ну я не буду особо пьяный, посмотрим по настроению.
И сколько ты купил?
Ну, у меня в планах было 2 бутылки вина, потом я передумал и взял что-то бутылок 8 пива.
Я, говорит, не очень буду пьяный.
Что-то люто интересное как-то.
Ну, куэмы живут. Куэмы как бы... Опять, вот в этом лобби их стратегия вот эта вот от края, последними заходить, зоной закрывать все, она работает. Там оно не работало. По крайней мере, в этой игре у них была такая позиционка, что вот они спокойно зашли с края.
Даже... Почему она не работала?
Почему?
Потому что там много китайцев, и китайцы не знают, что делать, кроме как бить. Ну вот, это типичный Халк.
Кроме как что делать?
Бить просто. Ну, видишь челов, идешь, бьешь. А когда они не знают, как им двигаться, они стоят на краю АФК, возможностью заехать куда-то на файт. Из-за этого все края заняты. Возможно, из-за этого. Тут видишь более такое европейское лобби по стайлу. Поэтому они могут найти себе место. А где они 10 киллов уже насобирали тогда?
Перо закрыли, я видел. Фейзов чуть-чуть подъели. КДФов закрыли, походу, сами. Я, кстати, вот этот пропустил момент, как они с КДФами дрались, кстати. Да. Как очки начисляются? За 1 килл 1 поинт, и за плейсмент, начиная с топ-6, топ-1 10 поинтов, топ-2 6 поинтов, топ-3 5, топ-4 4, топ-3 3. Ой, господи, что я? Куда пошел, алкаш? Как я начал считать? Думаю, что-то не то, что-то считаю не то, нафиг.
И совсем там, ну, это...
У меня в обратную сторону в какой-то момент пошло.
Зев по голове там ударил.
Да, вообще. Да, я просто что-то смотрю файт и одновременно считаю, и отвлекся на файт, и со счетом не пошло.
Так и скажи, был обворожен красотой Сив.
Блин, BBL нормально прошли. Еще выжили в смоках, потерпели. Сейчас еще команду Пио нахрен закрыть.
Пио никак не закроют.
Ну, ТЕ вот закрываются, и они дальше на Пио выходят. Чего уж не закрыть-то? Попробуйте. А кто там? Коэмы контролят левых.
Так они сейчас уже с левыми закончат.
BBL еще раньше, чем ТЕ сдохли в итоге. Минус филферст.
Хороший размен.
Ой-ой-ой, как плохо Адос пострелял, и в итоге сейчас это
По идее, там один смог сейвит от него.
So there is one member down for QM. They're kind of committing into this, and it looks like BGP is trying to use that opportunity where there's just two members. Pio, Damon, moving into this, but
А где типы-то? Где тиммейты?
not going to end up happening altogether.
Хоббит пытается добивать зачем-то.
Well, I say that as we can see, a knock is going to come out on BGP's side. How are they going to want to do this? Pio hiding inside the car right now, waiting to juke out. On the other side of it, going to be moving, see if they can provide a distraction. Steps in, gets this round of one, but not enough to get this.
Да, Пио! Ну все, это игра за коинами. Очень маленький шанс, что... А что это? А что это на лбу у Адоза? Это кто-то башкой об стол ударился? Типа... Да как? Чё это там чувак на пальцах показывал? Мне кажется, они сидели и письками мерились только что. Тебе не кажется, нет? Типа, у меня столько, а у меня столько. Ну вот, Филпер с Хоббитом.
Хитчиками, в смысле?
А?
Хитчиками, что ли?
Ну, что-то такое, да, это... То ли они считали, ну, это, я думаю, и так сразу было видно. Это сетка лузеров! Нави в финале уже, ребята! Никто никуда не отлетел.
А Садовник играет же еще?
А лайки поставите, нет? Чат, смотрите. Принцесса новая приехала. А, как вам? Какая соска, а? Сколько стоило? На распродаже на Алике копейки стоило. 3,600 я ее купил. Бутылки по дико по 0,33. А у тебя по сколько бутылки-то? По 0,5 или по 0,33? Там, наверное...
Я все разные взял, но не по 0,5.
По 0,45, наверное, там. Все разные. А зачем все разное пиво брать?
Ну, просто попробовать новые разные увидеть. Ну, всякие, знаешь, эти крафтовые стауты всякие.
Ненавижу крафтовое пиво. С него тоже башка болит, как с разливухи, блин.
Поэтому и взял попробовать, что доебался.
Это разные турниры. Это один турнир, разные стадии. В PUBG просто 10 жвачек в рот засовывают, берут кусок жвачки и тянут вот так вот, тянут. На целый месяц растягивая. Какие микрики? Кайлы. Как там они правильно произносятся, я не знаю. Кайлы на 80 миллионов. Первый раз я их решил попробовать, и они очень даже приятные. Такие же плюс-минус жесткие, как Хуано. Блю. На самом деле, джипроха на Хуано тоже. Вот я в нее Хуано перепаял микрики, вообще персик. На Амронах не то пальто вообще. Из этой...
Я посмотрел, там еще, кстати, обзор этой Дашки новой. Тоже вроде неплохой вариант.
А что за Дашка?
Ну, Дефадер.
А, Дезадера нового? Так у нее она здоровая, типа. Я уже привык, во-первых. А что, Дезадер беспроводная стала?
Да, вроде. Что-то я сейчас это подглючило меня.
Ну-ка, у них обычно мамба была беспроводная, Дезадер был проводной всегда. Ну вот Дезадер V2, который у меня валяется уже пару лет.
Нет, там V3 вышел.
V3.
Couple of filthy hobbitses. But look, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. The patience, I think, was the other thing. You know, obviously the patience in the fight with Petrichor Road to be able to pull off of that and get back involved. But then also the patience with how they played the south side once they...
Так, Дезадер V3. Десяточку стоит. А чё по весу у нее, ну-ка?
63 или 64, не помню.
Да! А, так я попрошу, нихера себе там сенсор-то, ёб твою мать. Там сенсор, охереть какой жесткий. Блин, там реально по характеристикам сенсор один из топовых сейчас. Точнее, я думаю, что он даже топовый.
Он самый топовый.
Да, он лучший сейчас. Типа, а форма та же самая, да, осталась?
Нет, они чуть-чуть убрали вот эти вот, типа, впереди у мышек расхождения, типа,
вижу.
Подрезали прямо.
Она больше как будто на Вайпер стала. Хотя?
Она больше... С одной стороны, короче, это G-проха, а с другой стороны, что-то среднее между старым DA-шкой и, хер знает чем еще, и с EC-шкой. Зою.
Блин, ну сенсор, конечно, имба, слушайте. Сенсор, мое почтение. Так, реально 63 грамма весит, я хочу размер ее посмотреть. Хера себе ускорение 70G, охереть просто! В G-прошке полтос.
26 pointer off that circle. Yeah, very big indeed. For the expendables, when I was watching them as well here, in this.
А чё за микрики?
You've got that compound. I don't think they really made true proper use of it. So many teams, smart positioning from them to be able to take cover from that, but I felt like maybe there was few more kills to have.
You know what I think it was that they were a little bit too. They used their utility too quickly, basically, and I think they were sending stuff down on Begopa to where they had nothing left at the end.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's game 2. We're going to Erangel once again. Let's head over to Paper Thin and Matrim for all the action.
Ну какие микрики тут не пишут, походу. И я не вижу ее размер. А, вот размеры. 128, 68 на 44. У меня G-прошка, по-моему, 114, что ли. Блин, ну она... Так, сейчас размер G-Pro. Там следующая игра началась. Длина 125. Высота 40, ширина 63. А у Дезадера длина 128, то есть на 3 миллиметра выше. На 4,5 миллиметра шире. И на 4 миллиметра выше. Длиннее, вернее. Она везде на 4 миллиметра больше, чем G-Pro. Хотя для меня G-Pro и так уже большеватая. Но сенсор просто имба. Конечно. Сейчас, наверное, новая волна популярности может быть рейзеров. У рейзера микрики своего производства, но они, по-моему, как амроны. Типа, и не самое то пальто.
here or Stalber. Like those are the two circles we've been getting on Erangel. Like
I'll take a Stalber circle.
I mean, yeah, I do love them, but hey, we do seen a few of them. So it is what it is. I mean, you gotta play with the hand you're dealt in PUBG, and this time around, no around BBL shenanigans early, so no fighting early. Maybe now I can get the opportunity to talk a little bit about some interesting stats I pulled together coming into this. I think now might be my chance.
Show us your homework. We're gonna
I did my homework today.
Новая Razer Viper Pro круче всего, что есть на рынке на данный момент, но ценник очень дорогой. Ну, типа, она очень маленькая же. Типа, у них как-то так. Дезадер слишком большой, Viper слишком маленький, наверное. А что-то средненького нету.
For Buriram. He did the most at 3,939 damage. Out of that, this is super interesting.
То, что микропереключатели, замена без пайки, это классно, кстати, на мышке. Так, я пошел чай себе налью, чатик. Пока все равно будет плюс-минус тишина.
Bananas. Averaging over 100 damage per game with frag grenades in a 10-game series. Absolutely monstrous.
That just means the fact that you got an arm on you, it's going to be problematic to deal with. Specifically, lining up that much nade damage it's just always like the opening that gives your team capabilities to make the push. Exactly, dude.
So, first of all, he had the most interesting stats out of all of this. Top DMR damage out of these 5 was Gustav from FaZe. He was playing really, really well. I mean, other than Noadra, out of the other 4, I should say, was Gustav. He also had 1,230 AR damage, so not bad. But here's the thing. So Noadra does 1,180 frag damage. Nobody else has more than 339 out of this top 5. So everybody else is doing it with the assault rifles, with the DMRs. And our best assault rifle player was actually 777 from the Expendables. 1,500 damage. No, it shouldn't surprise anyone.
I mean, it almost feels like he named himself 777 because that's how much damage he averages per game. Noadra, you said that there was not going to be any Buriram things, and we just jump in already shooting.
I should know better.
Never count them out.
I should have known better. But yeah, I mean, I love that we're watching a bit of Noadra here as we talked about him. So I talked about 3 out of those 5 players. Noadra, Gustav, 777. The other 2, Tickleton, who put up a ton of AR damage. I think we saw it with his push onto FaZe up on the Stalber Mountain. I think in game 2 on their win was really impressive. And we saw it in the previous game in that fight with OP, where he had a really good double kill with his M4, and then QBE from Entropic, where your top 5 damage dealers from Losers 1.
I mean, QBE felt like he was involved in so many of the fights that were going on, and one of the reasons we keep mentioning this is so that way you guys can know the keys to success, as well as having an idea moving forward with fantasy stuff and all that good, because, you know, it's all about the banter. Everybody, it's good to be involved in that one. And speaking of, hey, Shrimsy, I see you picking up a kill early on B. Oh, man, this is... They just cannot catch a break in the early game, dude.
I know. I pointed it out early on in this because it has been the really big storyline for BBL. We saw in the previous game, right? They keep all 4 up. They win that fight versus Buriram. They get deep into the late game. Here they lost a player early. You know, now I have concerns that they can't get into that late game. It seems to be sort of a do or don't. It's a 1 or a 0. It's a binary situation for BBL. And so I hope that isn't going to be the case, because this is a really talented team, a veteran team with guys who we know and love. You know, Smash and Code Marco in particular, 2 of my favorite players.
They've got a lot of heart in that last game. So I'm hoping the fact that it's not one of those like, oh, we lost a player early, we can't win fights kind of situation. They're still going to bring it, because that's what this bracket is all about right now. It's like, who can really just like pull it together whenever it's going to be your clutch players that can get you into that top 4, because this is going to be really, really contested. And you've got to make
Так, ну чё?
One bad game could be enough just to...
Я чай налил, вкусняшку к чаю взял, с куба можно нахер послать, и вообще хорошо вечер проходит, получается. Этот черт там хоть что-то говорил, или он с пивом во рту так и сидит там? Эй, черт.
Я говорил, что ты тупая.
Я как понимаю, обоснования не было.
В смысле, тебе еще обоснования нужны?
Конечно.
he's incredible, and I hope we get to see more of him. We've seen him quite a bit already this tournament. He's, you know, if you've been watching PCS Asia or the PCL over in China, you know that this guy is absolutely one of the best in the business when he's on.
GEX, who found themselves in a very late game victory to get themselves into a more solid position moving into this.
Не знаю, какие глайды у Суперлайт, но у G Pro Wireless просто глайды говнище, которые я выкинул сразу же просто. Просто сразу же заказал тайгеры и выкинул на помойку дефолтные эти глайды. Они были полным говном.
That would always like absorb people into him. Okay. Yeah.
Well, see, I always see them as more like the chaos as a ladder style team.
Oh yes, that is a very apt description of Burger on that.
That's why I love them so much. I always like Littlefinger. I don't care what anybody says about it. All right, moving in, we can see that New Happy is going to be coming into the circle just a bit. BGP, the other team that's not really inside here just quite yet. TE, who did find themselves a good position, but kills were elusive until the later stage of the game.
Мне кажется, вот эта мышка что-то между G Pro и FK2, может, или FK1. Такое ощущение.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, as much chaos as there had been in the early part of this event, things have calmed down here for game number 2 since we didn't have a hot drop, and
they just know this circle. It's almost like you know where your hot drop location. You see this.
Называется как съесть сырок, чтобы не измазюкаться полностью, блин.
Is going to be definitely mitigated on this one, no doubt about it. And I love the way TE just pulled off of that fight, took a couple shots, didn't find any damage. You know, the longer you stay there, the riskier it gets for the side of.
Бля, короче, чё? Купил, ну знаешь вот эти типа раздевушные отделы?
Ну.
Купил у них по дороге сухарики. Я сейчас вообще взорвусь нахуй.
От восторга или от наоборот?
От остроты. Это просто пиздец какой-то, что они них добавляют.
А я сейчас люблю сухарики чисто натуральные, без всякого говна. Вот, например, с чесночком. Вообще просто имбище.
Ну вот я с чесноком тоже взял, но я взял разных попробовать. Типа. Как сейчас пачку открыл, я вообще в ахуе сижу.
Да, это сетка лузеров номер 2. Основная сетка лузеров, короче, из которой выходит финал команды.
Надеюсь, мы увидим Соников.
Ну, походу, ликвиды в помойку отправляются, я так понимаю.
Части таблицы.
А чё тебе Соники не нравятся?
Он заебал пиздеть.
Тиглтон?
Да.
По поводу. На тебя?
Да, базарит слишком криво.
Так ты сам базаришь слишком криво. Чуть что, алё. Я понял! И что?
Я случайно выиграл регион для... Это, как сказать там... Как можно сказать вот этим? Для не сильно умных челов. Вот. А понтов, блядь, как будто он это...
Dude, I love chaotic circles. They make it fun.
Oh, I do
That's whenever you get to see the best of the best.
Он пусть лучше одолжи выигрывает.
Like showcase the fact that they know how to shot call in bad situations. You want to see somebody earn it. And when you get bad circles, you know that they have to earn it to get there.
11-я минута матча. 6 человек сдохло. И в полном составе сдохли ликвиды.
Это классика для ликвидов. Топ-1, топ-16. Они же всю жизнь так играли. Вообще всегда. Все годы. Там либо топ-1, либо топ-16. Типа среднего результата нет вообще.
Да, топ-1 у них сейчас тоже нет.
Meaning the fact that this circle's way smaller when you also add in that we have all of the water south of Ferry Pier, the bridge. This is actually a tiny circle teams are going to have to deal with.
TE tried to make another push out. Smell, hello? SSR had done quite a bit of damage to 7-7, and Smell just turns right onto him. And now the push is on for TE. I mean, they got to get out of here. They've got GEX on the back foot.
Yeah, there's a lot that's about to be going on over here as we also have Burron that's hearing what's going on. QM to the south of this one. Tyloo's also making a pathing into this direction. So firefights galore about to break out over here. GEX trying to figure out how they want to maneuver around this position while they do have a lot of teams that could be looking into them. Also, Wildcard could come in from the north and have a high ground view into everything that's going to be going on. So you can see, no surprise, a lot of these teams are moving into cover as fast as possible.
Yeah, I was going to say, Matchroom, hold me. Burron's coming.
They coming,
see them on the map. They're thinking about it at the very least. But that fight really didn't kick off too hard. Neither team really able to find much footing outside of the knock and
Пол игры с этим чаем пропустил вообще.
I took a lot of smokes and utility already at this stage. So.
Yeah, for TE I meant. But I mean, Tycon here, he should have.
А если молоко с пивом смешать, это плохо сильно будет?
Ничего не будет.
So Cerberus able to put another point in the bag.
А зачем тебе пить молоко вместе с пивом? А, я понял.
We got a lot that's going on in that northwest, but I also do want to point out FaZe as well as Freaks in a very good position inside the circle.
Причем, чтобы ты понимал, даже темный стаут не перебивает.
Да ладно, ты просто походу острое не можешь нормально употреблять. Славенький.
Есть маленькая мечта Каролину эту.
А ты не ел какую-нибудь там на несколько миллионов сковелей БПшку корейскую там, не?
Не, вообще ничего.
Я ел.
Хочу попробовать что-нибудь острое.
Я ел, я их спокойно причем ел вообще без проблем, а потом мое пищеварение как-то странно начало реагировать на острую еду, короче, и у меня начались, типа после, нет, после острого что-то типа запоров, короче. Теперь я острое перестал есть. Но, типа, мне не остро, ну как бы остро, но мне в кайф. Очень остро, но мне все равно в кайф. Мне типа нравится вот это вот. Но в итоге мои кишки говорят: извини, братан, не надо, да, не надо это кушать. Клава у меня, Dark Project, КД-87, а White у меня сейчас. Лучшая клавиатура из масс-маркета, на мой взгляд. Нихера себе! Ой, какой молик.
Да, и хаешка не долетела. У меня не слышно, как я сухариками хрушу?
Нет, не слышно.
Ну, я так же дох. Очень часто. Ты думаешь, что ну, успеешь кинуть хаешку, а ну, чел стоит угол смотрит.
Не слышал такие клавы.
Не знаю, мне кажется, Вармила самая имба, не?
Ну, Вармила дороже, чем Dark Project, но ничем не лучше, чем Dark Project. Типа, у меня 3 клавиатуры от Dark Project, они просто все...
Пошли мне одну, а то у меня...
Пошел ты.
Самая лучшая клавиатура из всех возможных.
Это что за...
Да этот хайпера, которая прошка.
А у меня тоже есть. У меня есть и прошка, и обычная есть.
Клавиши вообще почти не залипают.
А у меня, например, на этих клавиатурах клавиши не залипают, но эти... Как они называют это?
Кейкапы?
Как?
Кейкапы?
Да, кейкапы, короче, на некоторых кнопках просто треснули нахер вот это внутреннее крепление. И она не держится просто, и все. Надо полностью кейкапы менять.
Не, у меня с кейкапами все норм, но она задолбала, у нее, короче, есть баг. Ну, ты знаешь, наверное, мы обсуждали в тот раз. Что залипать, короче, рандомная клавиша начинает. Причем не механически, а как-то программно.
Ну, типа, а ты ее разбирал, мыл?
Да не из-за этого, она чистая вся, типа, она просто сама по себе как-то залипание происходит, непонятно.
Так может там у тебя непосредственно в микрике в каком-то какая-то грязь.
Там рандомная кнопка. Нет, там рандомная кнопка всегда разная залипает. Типа ты достаешь шнур, вставляешь обратно, у тебя все норм сразу. Это не может быть кнопка быть. И много у кого молодого такая же приколюха, типа с хайперами.
Странно, у меня такой нету фигни.
Вот именно у хайперов много у кого такая штука. Это единственный минус этой клавы, а так она, в принципе, вообще норм.
Ну сколько я прошкой пользовался? Ну пару лет точно пользовался, вообще без проблем. Единственное, только какие-то клавиши подтерлись, какие-то поломались. Вот. Но это обычная, которая была HyperX, забыл, как Elo FPS, которая у меня большая, полноразмерная. У нее с ножками проблема была, типа они отклеивались, все в клею было. На прошке они это пофиксили, она вообще идеальная была. Но вот то, что кейкапы потрескались, это единственная проблема. Именно те клавиши, которые я постоянно тыкал, там прям, ну, их чисто менять по-другому никак. Крепление полностью поломано. Я не знаю.
Кастомных прикольно, что ты можешь просто наборчики закупать.
Да, у меня еще и 2 набора к этим, к Dark Project кейкапов. И 2 из этих клавиатуры беспроводные, нафиг. На Алике продаются пудинг for hyper, пишет мужчина.
Чего продаются?
Ну, пикапы. Падин по хайпер, наверное, так будет
считаться. С кикапами все норм, меня бесит, что вот она, типа, у нее есть баг вот этот. Он мне конкретно иногда заебывает.
Ничего не знаю. Ничего не знаю. Разбираешь?
Беспроводная вроде неплохая.
Разбираешь, моешь и нормально. Все, точно все поможет. Все пофиксит. Инфа 100. Только просуши нормально и все.
Хорошо. А мыть в чем? В гудроне?
В обычной водой с мылом можешь даже. Не, это не шутка, я мыл 2 раза от клаву от хайперов. 1 раз я на нее вино пролил. Все микрики залипать стали. Помыл?
Мне кажется, самое жесткое, что можно сделать, это колу пролить.
Ну, это плюс-минус одно и то же. Ну, помыл без проблем, все работает. Это, главное просушить. И потом недавно специально на видос чувакам мыл. Типа, еще пиво, по-моему, пролил я на алкостриме на нее. Все. Говорю, вот, разбираем, моем, сушим. С кайфом. Сейчас Маша ей пользуется.
А чё ты Dark Project Маша не отдала, сам это и не взял?
Так у меня 2 стоят без дела эти клавиатуры, я могу Маше отдать. Без проблем. Но не берет пока. Захочет, возьмет что-то.
Она проводная или без? Проводная, да?
Моя проводная.
У них есть беспроводные?
А?
У них есть беспроводные?
Так я же тебе говорю, у меня 2 беспроводные.
Типа их же прямо такие же.
Dark Project.
Одинаковые или там разные версии?
Нет, они на 67, по-моему, клавиш. Но она меньше. Или на 61 вообще клавишу. Без эффект там они.
А вот, ну, типа, где используются эфки сейчас?
Да везде, чё.
Ой, не эфки, а вот это нумпад, которая часть, вообще где-то используется сейчас?
Ну, я его уж лет 15 не использовал, наверное.
Не, ну, типа, для каких-нибудь там...
В какой-то игре?
Не в игре, а вот именно вообще где-то там для работы.
Ну, конечно, конечно. Это ж удобно, как там... Для бухгалтеров различных.
Кроме кассиров каких-нибудь.
Кроме кассиров, говорит. Для бухгалтеров, говорю. Или бухгалтер, кассир одно и то же, да?
Ну да, я...
Ну, которые там всякие таблицы заполняют люди, я думаю, удобно. Куда ты лег, братик? А, ну там он уже, дай.
Там коемы до сих пор живут.
Да, коемы
По
живут.
сравнению с предыдущими играми даже как-то непривычно видеть.
Нет, стенд с мышками я еще не делал. Но это только как идея. Это не значит, что я вот сейчас должен это делать. У меня куча еще дел помимо этого. Я вон дома дверь не могу покрасить, блин, гребаные. Коем с кайфом.
Сделай стену памяти сзади у себя. Вместо этой.
Стену памяти?
Вместо шумки, да. За стеклянную там. С мышками, с клавами.
Свои молодые фотки туда.
Так пугать людей не надо.
Not a sandwich anyone wants to be a part of. Well, Jan Lee at least managed to get the knock out of one of the Sonics members. GEX, they're going to have to make the move in. I do want to remind everybody that FaZe has had an Overwatch position on this for quite a while. Looks like they're going to move in closer and probably going to fourth party whatever is going to be happening on this, as I think that they're moving into the foothills just around this. You can see on the mini-map. Yep. So, whoever wins this fight against these three teams now needs to move down into it. Burrom's going to go ahead and take some shots, revealing the fact that FaZe is going to be there. They're going to go ahead and extricate themselves from that plan and move down into the...
Братик, мне кажется, ты что-то как-то спреешь неправильно. Какое-то упреждение у тебя конское.
Я правильно сейчас понял? Ты какому-то азиату сказал, что он спрет неправильно.
Да.
Зайди на русеру, тебе объяснят, как спрет.
This is going to be a messy fight for those teams that are going to be in the north. Everybody else pretty much comfortable. They found themselves a spot inside of this circle and don't have to contend with walking across that open hill filled down into a road. There's just no cover there.
Yeah, everybody will tell you the closer you get to that road here, the worse it gets. Is Canaxi trying to...
Что-то какой-то такой себе тимфайт от соников я наблюдаю.
Ну, вообще, FaZe неплохо помогли.
Holding a strong angle into that one. No Audra back behind, spots out yet again. It looked like FaZe was going to provide some type of support to Sonics, but that quickly diminished out. Burram doing a good job leaning in what's happening right here. Canaxi still holding down that line as it looks like Edie is going to hold down the back line while the res is going to come out.
FaZe сейчас всех их заформят.
That blue is coming in right up on top of them, and this is phase 6. That's not going to tickle. They know that they need to make a move. Canaxi, here's what's going to go on. Tries to peek up for it, and Sonics...
Слабо, Соники, слабо.
Блин, you've been killed by the best.
Almost completely clean fight. If it wasn't for the fact that FaZe got involved in that, Buriram would have won that just straight up against the Sonics. Still, though, a great game for the Sonics. 8 kills. You take that every day. You get a placement point in there.
А, они там в зонке? О, хорош. Хорош, Потс. Вам ехать надо, а ты нокаешься. Идеально.
Кстати, будет весьма легкая игра для фейзов, если они закроют бурирамов.
Ну, если вон там мужчины не занозят и стае.
Как будет проходить Адолс, конечно, я понятия не имею. Наверное, никак.
Как сейчас в бурирамы выезжать будут? Вот это мне интересно.
Четвером на машинке.
Оставить
на кавер.
Я и говорю, как типа выезжать они будут. О, вот сюда под КГ, кстати, нормально встать. Да, слушай, хорошо приехали. Смоки-то, алло! Смоков нет или что, я не понимаю. А как они собрались там выжить? Ну, фейзы, короче, в угаре вот этом вот наполучали.
he's like, we must stay in the cover. FaZe Clan, though, has Mipper go down to the Expendables. Gets a vision. Conaxi now trying to make his run over. Makes landfall. Catches too much air on the hill. And he's going to go down. FaZe Clan continuing to make
Мне кажется, там видно под машиной.
Видно, видно.
Not too much action popping off just yet, but it's only a matter of time. It looks like QM. Here's what's going on with FaZe. Here's those shots.
Труп стреляют с кайфом.
Кто-то не понимает, откуда Бурирама все смоки проебали. Они же в яме сидели.
На нахер.
Oh, Edie goes down to a bouncing car. And man, that reminds me of we love our car physics from back in the day. So,
Там Фекс остался еще кое-мы.
just in time, but Fex finds himself in a bad spot. Meduzi on one side of him, and he's got Opits on the other. So with this dancing around, slow, steady FaZe does have a control point that they can play from and get defense and pretty much control over the rest of the circle once this fight ends.
Great little molly there by a doozy to keep that angle safe from FaZe Clan to not give them.
Но как они там выживут сейчас? Я не знаю. Может, зря они отошли.
Ну там бы они тоже умирали, но хотя бы могли в поинт сожрать.
I mean, TE is just holding this line for so long, sitting at 5 kills now, probably about to pick up some more. FaZe has vision of what's going on, everything in front of it, but this is just your life at this point.
ГГ.
Is going to pop and moves out in the middle of nowhere. Molotov's just going to go ahead and give him a bike.
А, сдох от зоны. Неплохо.
Oh,
that hurts.
No Valhalla for you. All right, so FaZe trying to wrap through, trying to gain control of this western side. Pinned in inside of these.
Чё, как думаешь, фейзы смогут? Ну вообще, с учетом того, что сейчас все друг друга перетрахают, фейзы должны там еще и поесть нормально.
Я говорил, что это легкое
Ну
для
да.
фейзов, если они убивают Бурирамов. Как видишь, Бурирамов они уже убили.
I mean, FaZe gets so much control in what's happening with this. We have the other 3 teams that were playing very pure that had good positions and good defendable spots. They found themselves buildings, all the good that you could find. But now that the circles moved to the field, FaZe that was controlling that area in their fight when we were looking at them with Buriram now gets to move into where Buriram was at. They've got that like little defilade of a hill that comes down, and then everybody else has to move into them. You can see a couple of teams kind of squeaking in as it is going to be BGP kind of creeping forward. They've got PO and Songyang that is in here right now. But Tyloo, the Expendables, I don't know what they do here.
I mean, yeah, this is really difficult for everybody that is in Bagel Pond FaZe. They're going to have.
Как у них тут комфортно.
Нет, теперь уже фейзы проиграли игру.
Да? Думаешь? Какой клоуняка? Как он заехал?
This is so good though. With the fight going on with BGP, suddenly it's going to be the Expendables realizing this is their moment. Tyler also coming in right back behind this. Expendables have 2 of their members down. It's just going to be Throwables coming out. BGP coming around the other side of FaZe. It's just a multi-front battle and FaZe is getting picked apart. There's just too much. They can't control it all. Still 2 members up though. Looking back in, it's just Levis who's going to be moving down into FaZe. FaZe manages to hold the line against them, but it's still one more
Тайлу еще и разрезаются.
A damn impressive fight from FaZe to keep 2 up here. Gustav is going to get flushed by PO. Fex now watching Tyloo. They're going for the res. Not going to happen. Fex right on point. It's going to be Tyloo out. And now you've got 2 members of FaZe versus, I think, the 3 of Big Opa.
4. They got the res on it, so I mean, FaZe been fighting for a minute. Can they pop this one up?
Ой, хорошо.
One to open it up. Now sitting in a 2v3 opportunity. Now starting to knock. FaZe can start to feel it. Maneuvering through. They have to be very careful in how they assault this hillside. If one of them goes down, it's going to become super problematic. AC does go down. The Fex gets another one. Looks back in.
Эх, а Фекс был близок, кстати. Чтоб еще одного нокнуть. Пио себе набрал каких-то возрастных игроков, не? Мне кажется, там старички какие-то.
Так они вроде примерно плюс-минус его возраста, не?
Сколько Пио лет? Не, Пио молодой же вроде.
22 где-то ему, что ли?
Так.
Ну, это все, короче, его друзья.
Ну, я понял. ПГЦ 22. Ликвипедия. А что там за команда-то у него?
the credit in the world to FaZe. They played the hell out of this game. They played so good this game. I love the way they rotated. I love the way they controlled their space. They won a battle.
Так.
Как расшифровывается, не знаю.
What just wasn't in their favor. It was Bagel Pao came out ahead.
I mean, it was so good. You could see that the other teams realized when they needed to pounce on FaZe. There is so much to break down. Rotations galore. Kalaris, just take it away, man. There is so much to look at.
Что-то типа больше гандонов на ру-сервере, пожалуйста. Как-то так, наверное.
Конченый. Конченый. Так. БГП. Бой гоупа. Бой гоупа.
Feels like it's been 2 weeks now, and then now they're finally starting to hit those. So it's a good look for Bagel Pie. It's also a different look for the Expendables. I know we were talking about just kind of hanging out in compounds, but it's getting into the late game. So twice now we've seen
Пио. 26 лет ему.
В смысле 26, а почему так поздно в армию забирают?
Почему поздно? Ну а чё в Корее? Призыв с какого? Может быть, учился, отсрочки туда-сюда. Так, еще одному из команды 24. 24. И одному 30-ка! 2 сердца!
30 лет сидит.
Хорош! Хорош, блин! Сянго Джанг еще. 27 лет. This has been a very good-looking phase, especially in this round, but they also have been one of those teams. Started a little slow for me, but have been really strong. Big Opa gets themselves 15 points on the board. Not exactly a boatload of kills to go with it, but this is enough. And I think this is, when you look at the kills overall, yes, you have... Так, чатик, не забудьте про лайк. Я пошел. Отойду. Увидимся на следующей игре. Navigate the Ferry Pier compounds here, but Toffees, and just try and get big kills, because everyone can kind of see everyone at some of these points. Yeah, especially that shift when it moved away from Ferry Pier. We're just talking about that field. For instance, the Bury Ram Sonics fight. It didn't matter who won that fight for the next stage, right? There's no coming down that hill in a safe way. It was a very tough circle. Bagel Pot saw it coming, and they played it very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough in the way that, Matchup throw it over, talking about rotations. Well, rotations was the hard part about this, right? Because once it cuts south and you're looking at that hillside, you're avoiding the power points, right? You're trying to avoid you getting shot at by 4 members of one team, and it's just impossible at a certain point. Get a look at Bagel Pod numbers there. Yeah, a very low damage win for them. How does he get 2 kills with 71 damage? Yeah, I don't know. Because
Taman got none.
Okay.
There you go. Yes, he was just like, I'll get that for you.
He's like the bathroom attendant. Just takes care of the flushing for him.
All right, here as the standings so far. If we were to end after 2 games, which is not happening, they will be the 4 teams that are moving through. However, that's not to be so far.
One from every region.
Interesting.
You like
quite nice, isn't it?
I know.
It would couple very nicely with the top 8 teams that we've got so far. But yes, here are the points as it does stand. Quite a bit of sponging from the top 3, and then beyond that, extremely close Toffees.
Yeah, I am a little bit frustrated with teams like Petrichor and Cerberus, who I thought would be starting a little bit stronger here today after some things we've seen for them. Petrichor in particular has just been sort of caught out early in both of those games. Overpeakers also, when I look at that board, is just we're losing them in, I think, the first 3 in both of our matches. I'm not really sure what they're doing wrong. I don't know, PGC, is it rotations? Is it bad luck? Or is it too soon to tell?
Yeah, I mean, at least through 2 games anyway, it was another team taking a fight to them.
That makes sense. Okay.
And they didn't really get to prepare and have their fight that they wanted, so they get pushed, and then they end up getting third-partied as well. So it's really just kind of been an issue of unlucky for Petrichor at this point. I expect it to turn around.
I hope so. I hope so.
I mean, other teams down towards the bottom. Entropic, for example, 0 points. 0. Compared to looking so good in their previous stage, it's they need to pick up steam.
Yeah, and I think some teams maybe came in feeling a little bit too good. They were doing great. They put up some good numbers. They came in here thinking they'd be a little more comfortable, and they're seeing it's how hard a lobby it is.
All right, gentlemen, time to go to a break. When we return, we have one more Erangel for today. Then after that, we will, of course, be moving over to Miramar. We will see you in a few here for more PGC.
improvements to the folded shield, some spawn rate adjustments for vehicles, and a collaboration with one of the best footballers in the world. All this and more as we dive into the Update 20.2 patch report. First up, the folded shield is getting a few changes based on community feedback. The inventory weight has been reduced, weapon durability increased for both guns and grenades, and it now installs in half the time. You'll also find it a bit harder to run over than before, with a vehicle now needing to be going at least 10 kilometers per hour, instead of the 1 kilometer per hour it was before. In addition, the shield can now be placed back into your inventory, and deployment can be cancelled before it finishes. Let us know what you think about these requested changes. Next up, vehicles in Erangel and Miramar are getting a slight adjustment, with some spawning more and less frequently. You'll now find more UAZs and Dacias on Erangel, and more Murados and pickups on Miramar. To contrast, we've lowered the amount of boats, buggies, and aqua rails on Erangel. And speaking of maps, this update's rotation will now include Erangel, Miramar, Tago, and Destin for all regions. Regions with map select enabled will also have the option of playing on Sanaa, while regions without will instead drop into Karakin. As usual, the ranked rotation will remain Erangel, Miramar, and Tago. This update also features a collaboration with one of the best footballers in the game, Neymar Jr. For a limited time, you can pick up several Neymar-themed items in the store. Gear up and score big. There's also a reduction in the number of multi-care packages on Tega, some MMR adjustments for normal games, new workshop skins, and more. So be sure to check out the patch notes for full details. Update 20.2 is here, so fold up your shield, pack up the Dacia, and go catch a ball game. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
And there are no brakes on this train. We're immediately getting back into the action, and we need to, given the fact that we still see so much of this leaderboard compacted, but there's something happening at the top of it.
Yeah, exactly. The top three teams right now with 20-plus points, pretty well ahead of anybody below them. TE has been quietly really solid today, putting themselves in positions to at least get to late game. They haven't been able to snowball it into a win just yet, but right now, if TE can kind of continue this sort of ability to find these late game circles, to put themselves in spots where nobody can really do any damage to them until the end of the game, yeah, I think eventually they're going to break through and have a big performance.
I know that we talk a lot about points per game, and that's like so important to move forward as we're going into this one, right? And when you look at, it's just the top four. Do you think that just points per game can get you there, or is it going to require chicken dinners?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think you can have an explosive performance in 10 games with kills that you can get it done. I think teams like New Happy, teams like, they're not in this lobby, but 17 Gaming that are really kill heavy at times can get it done. But I think a chicken dinner is a really good way to make yourself feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and we've got two teams that already managed to pick them up, but I mean, just back behind that. We talked about top three get some separation, but it's top four that go on. And what is it? It's like 1 point separating out fourth and fifth right now. It is coming down to the wire that small things like whenever we saw that Molotov come out and instead go over to the blue zone, not giving the kill point over, or so many small moments like that could have major impacts as we move into the end of tomorrow.
Oh, think about the very beginning of our previous game where Bagel Pa was under fire from Entropic and they barely got out, just barely got out with all four players alive, were able to get into the blue, regroup, get new vehicles, and come back into this and come through with the win. I mean, every moment counts in PUBG. It's so incredible how every little play can impact the final outcome of the game.
Yeah, it's just small stuff like we were talking about a second ago with the phase fight whenever they were fighting up against Burrow. they managed to finish that 1 second in time to stop an assault coming out from QM. If that had been going on for just a smidgen longer, we would have seen QM come up back behind them to try to take them out. Instead, with that, QM had to retreat back into TE's territory, and that led up to a different set of like fights and how the entire in-game broke down. 1 second.
Butterfly effect, my friend. All right, well, match number 3. It's our last Erangel of the day here at PGC 2022. Let's see what our playing path is going to give us, Matchroom. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are we going to be going over to Stolber? Because if you got to get a throne, that's where Stolber is. It's like the highest spot, right?
Well, the playing path is, it's thinking about it, Matt. It's
look, you said we get 2 circles, and I wanted to go the other way at least, right?
That's fair. I wouldn't mind seeing like a Georgia Pole area. You know what? Some of my absolute favorite circles are though, are our Everest circles, the mountain circles.
Oh,
those are just so good. I mean, I would love to see one of those, but that's neither here nor there. Going back to FaZe Clan, I want to add on to the point you were talking about because first of all, FaZe has been playing really good the last couple of days. The beginning of this tournament, I actually went and talked to the FaZe coaches. I went and talked to Dids and Luke, and they were saying that, you know, part of their problem was their macro's good. We saw it. You know, their rotations are really good, but their fighting just wasn't consistent. It wasn't decisive. It wasn't clean. So that was the one thing that they're really focused on for these last couple of days here, and it's been a lot better. They played so much better. We saw it in that previous game. The way they controlled space, the way that they were all on the same page. Everybody was doing their job, you know, doing the right things at the right time. Super impressed.
Looking through, it looks like we can see that it's going to be Begopod going over there, the Stolber side of it. I believe that is one of the members for New Happy also caught up around a whole bunch of Gex members, so we'll have to see how that goes up for them. Circle's gonna pop and never lucky, man.
Why?
Never lucky. I tried to cast a curse up to Solver. I
appreciate it. I appreciate you, but well, hopefully this one just goes like hard north.
Блин, я так классно лежал на диване вообще, забыл, что я вообще стримлю, что я что-то смотрю. Блин, мне так классно было. А потом я так расстроился, когда вспомнил, что надо идти смотреть игры. О, бой.
Старость подкрылась незаметно.
Так хотелось полежать, покайфовать, вот это.
If you're not, you should definitely have the map up while you watch PUBG Esports. It definitely enhances the experience. It's one of the other channels out there, so you can find it, put it on your phone, put it on your other monitor if you happen to have one.
Выглядит так, будто сожрал пару китайцев там пока был.
Пару мингов. Просто минг на максималках.
He's doing everything he can to try to put New Happy on his back and get him through, but yeah, I mean, the one thing I want to go back to is I'm curious, Matt, if like anybody's going to try to make a faster rotation. So my eyes are on the map. That's why I'm talking about the map. That's why I want you guys to watch it. You know, keep your eye on your favorite teams, of course, but also, you know, see if teams are changing up their meta strategy.
If there's one team that you quickly, it is going to be the Picado Suns.
Только не я.
Yet again find themselves back in their
Шримзи. А Шримзи. Домой приеду, пиво попью. С бургерами.
Там рендерится один видосик, где крипов фармлю, надо срочно второй запилить. Ведь это хавают.
Yes. Yeah, okay. This is why we share a brain. This is why we work well together, because we think similar levels of weird.
That is true. It's all about the Anime Foundation.
Почему никто с Сониками за починки не файтился, не понял я.
Потому что все, с кем они файтились, давно в финале. Поэтому с ними сейчас никто и не файтился.
Ну, ликвиды с ними в лобби.
Ликвиды давно скипнули.
Yeah, everybody should love Zarky. Best circles ever happen up there as well. Other than the you know, the mountain we talked about previously, the one.
А что там, и 17-й, и эти... И кто еще там в финале же тоже? Кто-то там эти?
Нави, НЛТ.
Починками кто там лутает? Кроме 17-х, эти как...
Донава? Нет, Донава не то.
Не-не. Ну, пиздил этих соников в начале турнира.
Я не смотрел начало турнира. SGD пишет в чат.
SGD?
Угу.
Ну, короче, кто-то их в починках тоже башкой обосвать возил.
Team that's going to be rolling in, talking about the fact just a minute ago, Sonics have an easy path into this one. They are venturing in much earlier, so finding themselves some vision and a very easy path in. The teams that leaned into that northeastern area, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them nom on some blue for a second before they come.
Там где Тоглтон падал на тройку в соло, как в фулл скваду, и думал, что это пабг. И его пиздили 3 катки подряд на старте.
Hey, at least just control is good too.
That right there is a great example of why this is the best UAS in the game. It offers dead serious there. This is the level 3 UAS. A lot of people think the hard top UAS is level 3. Nah, the soft top.
На-а-а. 6-я минута, 0 фрагов.
Yes, they've got a 2-2 split to kind of put a crossfire down, but a really good angle being driven through by Pero, and they should be a-okay at least for now. And I don't really see a ton going on ahead of them, at least at this next hill, so see how far they opt to go.
There is something that's kind of interesting about the circle, given how many people have already moved into it, and yes, they have an idea on where people are already going to be because we're seeing fairly similar rotations coming out, but it's also very quiet. There's not very many shots that are going in between teams right now, so if you're going into that center send, you think you know that it's going to be safe.
Хватит жрать, будешь толстый. Ну, а как жить-то и не кушать, я что-то не понимаю. Привет, может азиатскую трансляцию включить? Думаешь, она лучше?
You've got Buriram and BBL who are sort of in this vicinity, so you could, in theory, have to run into one of them. You have no idea.
Неплохо, уже все в центре.
That in and of itself is going to be a gamble. Cerberus could have opted for an early rotation.
New Happy, Фейзы, Гексы.
Видел, кстати, Адолс решили не буриться дальше, остались на этом моторе.
А почему нет с такой зоной?
Ну, много зон, которые наверх уходят в болото.
И много, которые вниз уходят. Ну, по крайней мере, я очень часто наблюдаю при такой зоне нижний прок. Ну, ладно, не очень часто. Там еще есть кто к члену уходит, вот к этим мятным.
Не около Приморска. Около Квори ты много зон знаешь?
Ну да. Непосредственно там над левые будки, которые над Приморском, потом...
Турнирных зон много знаешь?
А чё, они не турнирные, что ли? Настройки-то ведь одни и те же, нет, что ли?
Да будки уже давно зоны не играются.
Да как это? Подожди, давай разберем. Ранкет и турнирные зоны одни и те же настройки. В данный момент точно.
Ну типа да, но они по-другому как-то все напрокают.
По-моему, нет.
Ну, плюс у них лан-клиент еще как бы держу в курсе.
Так это не меняет ничего.
Ну не факт, что там вообще такие же проки.
Да ладно, мы весь турнир видим одни и те же проки, что ты выдумываешь?
Вообще, кстати, если ты не знал, мне рассказали вот когда-то, зону нарисовать можно.
Так это стопудово можно нарисовать, я думаю. Просто...
Сидит китайчик около сервера, который может нарисовать любую зону.
Да не то, что около сервера. Тот, кто, мне кажется, просто какие-то права выдаются к человеку, который именно лобби создает, ну или автомату, который лобби создает. Я думаю, что режим там какой-то, вот как нам дают партнерам там, а у них там еще какой-нибудь режим плюсом, которые могут все корректировать. Какие проблемы? Я думаю, что это реализовать-то несложно. Просто кто тебе сказал...
Я когда узнал, что они могут просто любой круг нарисовать, типа, перед стартом игры, то это вообще кет.
Ну, а кто это сказал? Это на уровне фантазии чуваков, инфа 100%.
Это не на уровне фантазии чуваков, я так скажу.
Я думаю, что это 100% типа на уровне.
Непосредственно человек, который стоял рядом с этим человеком.
Ну это какой? Какой-то СНГшный турнир?
Не. Кого? Мировой турик был.
Ну тогда я не верю это. И кто-то из наших типов стоял?
Ну, из игроков.
Ну, такое просто вообще невозможно, чтобы допустили организаторы, я считаю. Если даже это так, то такое просто, ну, быть не может, чтобы игроки знали об этом там, или не, ну, не исключительно
я не говорю,
избранные.
Что они рисуют. Я говорю, что у них есть такая возможность. А типа делали они так или нет, я не знаю. Ну про саму опцию это типа, ну уже типа кек вообще полный.
Да нет, это дефолтный режим какой-то. Я не думаю, что это кек, это вполне очевидно, что так можно делать. В режиме разработчика, может, какой-нибудь, или что-то такое, так что, ну... Да, это вторая сетка лузеров. Проходят 4 команды.
Там зона, кстати, прокнула прям наебала на кворе в центре.
Ну да. Здравствуйте, привет.
БГП сделали 1 килл, выбрались на первое.
Ой-ой-ой! А зачем?
Поторопился, наверное.
А как он дальше играть собрался?
Не, играть-то он может спокойно там дальше. Просто если бы он их фул в крысу пропустил, они бы вышли чекать Адолза, он бы кого-то одного съел 100%.
Я как бы думал, он начинает, чтобы на себя затриггерить, и пацаны там сзади в ангаре будут, а Хоббит там сразу убежал, поэтому...
И он потом тикнул.
Attempt to regroup. It can be tricky. There's some exposed terrain. You've got to run across. As I say that, SSR goes for that M24 shot. Not going to be able to find it. Dante gets a knock on a savior, which is going to help alleviate some of the pressure for his teammate Phil first. And it looks like rescue mission has been halfway accomplished. I'll call this halfway for Phil first.
Yeah, I mean, with the way we see question mark hold up, GX should be able to get the res. This is just awkward now for both of these teams as they're very aware what's going on. SSR is going to stretch out, take a couple of bullets to the face and go, I don't want to go do that one again, but got to get some information. Not a lot else happening on the map right now. We did see that it was CES that moved pretty close to Petrichor Road. They had a couple of shots going between them, but it's still just a very, very quiet circle right now. It's more in that...
Каким луком я играл?
It's not as wild as a fairy peer finish.
О чем ты?
Okay, I'll give you that one. Or the Primorsk one, the other... But maybe we'll get Quarry on this one. I was actually pretty happy with the Sharkfin ending too.
Oh no, look, Sharkfin endings are good because there's at least a fair amount of like cover and terrain to work with around it. So I agree with you. I like those endings, but this one definitely more David Attenborough than, you know.
This is very, very true.
13 минут катки, 2 фрага на карте.
Лево вверх, лево центр вверх.
Не, я думаю, низ будет. Сюда! И в итоге следующее на кворе. Это стопудово конец где-то под квори.
Просто 2 ебаных хардшифта вниз.
Или вот эти вот будки может даже быть вполне. С Булсом? Ярик, где он сейчас? Ну, в Ижевске где? Что ты хочешь? Посмотри его соцсети, да? Недавно я с ним в Тарков играл. Кто, на мой взгляд, топ-игрок? Так я, конечно.
Не топ-чепух тебя спросили. А игрок.
Топ-чепух — это ты, а я топ-игрок. Ты что?
Нет, ты топ-чепух. Есть еще факинг чепух.
А есть еще алка чепух, я правильно понимаю?
Алка чепух тоже есть, да.
То есть ты решил все стрелочки от себя провести, верно? В принципе, каждый из этих терминов подходит к тебе, кстати. Кроме топового игрока. Чепух на любой день, на каждый день, блядь. О, Соники, чё с лицом?
Чё с ебалом?
Блин, ну ты хейтер Соников, конечно. Оба-на!
Как жаль, как жаль. Запиши видос новый, может, поможет.
Такой хейтер просто. Не зря тебя европейцы душат просто как этого. Ты токсик. Ты все.
Меня никто не душит.
Ты токсик. Сразу Скуби! Добить нахер!
Меня душат только турки. Тоглтон. И все.
А Марселек?
С дедом все вопросы решили.
С дедом все вопросы решили?
Ты понимал, даже дед, который всех душит, теперь меня не душит.
Я прошу прощения, ты куда-то к нему в гости приезжал? Укреплял связки или что?
Мы как-то встретились в починках, я решил, ну, пощадить их склад, не добивал. Вот, он мне потом написал даже nice shot. И мы решили, что, типа, это, не пиздим друг друга.
О, Квери.
Вообще кайфовая зона для фейзов, если они не перебукуют.
Но сейчас к ним приезжают, на самом деле.
Ну да, если они так и продолжат стоять, то им пизды по одному дадут.
Ух, какой голос у чувака.
Да он же озвучивает ролики. Вроде, да?
Нет.
Пабгерские, которые между перерывах играют.
Ну я не знаю.
Который еще анонсировал, типа, карты там. Да, это 100% он. Который там всякие видосы, ну, вот эти, которые они крутят в перерывах, там, Welcome to Myanmar, там вот эти.
Наши это кто? Коэмы. На второй строчке сейчас.
Looking for yet another, and ZP stuck behind this rock. It's not a great spot to be, but those grenades are bouncing just a bit too far. They are going to finish off HS. ZP though in the blue, and that is going to make things tricky indeed. Zhao Yang going to finish him off, and New Happy goes down to Tyloo.
Ну, у New Happy что-то не идет вообще.
Chill over here as it looks like Tyloo is going to have to make their way into the east now. They've got some opportunities that hillside, I think, still going to have cover points to play from. We've got Burram that looks like they're trying to assault the lower area around where we saw GEX at a second ago. Freaks looks like they're going to try to collapse in. This is not going to work. This is going to be so.
Я почему не участвую? Ну, это слишком слабые соперники для меня просто. Они вчетвером играют, а я бы мог один играть, понимаешь?
Шамана надо запихивать, ну, к чемпионам и сыграть катку престижа, чтобы он как утяжелитель. Типа, смогут ли они выиграть с Шаманом?
И Шаман будет там топ ДПС мужчина.
Да. С твоей-то информацией 100%. Там у челов чисто мозг взрывается, блядь. Кто там, где, кто вышел, когда, кто.
Really ahead of everybody else. Another thing to think about for Bagel not only on the top, but they shut out the Sonics. I mean, in that fight, I mean, think about the confidence to go for that play.
I say that I think I saw Lash use the last of his smokes, still just trying to move, so that could.
Кстати, вообще, энтропики предполагалось, что неплохо должны турнир сыграть.
Да.
Там рили типа сильные 4 чела. Я не знаю, почему они хуй сосут. Нихуя, а можно мне также без задачи со слайдки стрелять?
Учись. Там еще и коэмы туда пошли. Какой Шимора, чувак, вообще.
Мора еще живой?
Ботов-то хоть не трогай, блин. Пусть боты там с ботами играют.
Он же там какой-то свою игру хотел разработать.
Вообще похер. Он там тоже намекал на то, что я с щитами играю.
Не, ну там-то чел мышку второй раз в день взял, типа. Его бы сейчас еще...
А хардплей, так, блять, охуенный игрок, да? Я думаю... Я еще думал, блин, чувак в КС играет, знает, что такое спрей-контроль, знает, что такое АИМ. Ну, а он мне такую...
Просто контент-мейкер.
Такие предъявы мне предъявляют. Думаю, какой клоун, я вообще в шоке просто.
Так ты бы софтом не играл, не было бы проблем.
Так да.
Заебал своими аимами. Бля, почему я раньше не стримил? Было бы весело.
Куда? Просто между всех пострелял, чувак. Еще и этого перестрелял.
О, коэмы фармят.
Коэмы фармят? А, иноки доедают. Как же они доедают, а?
Они кого-то одного проебали, да, уже?
Да.
Ну нормально, они 7 киллов уже наели. Единственное, я не знаю, как они BBL сейчас будут убивать.
Да, они спокойно зайдут. Они зайдут спокойно.
Там пробежка неудобная. Да, BBL.
BBL слишком глубоко стоят, по-моему. И при этом...
Ну, вообще так, да. Ну смотри, Данте не может играть дальше, потому что тогда его ТГ увидят. Они не могут играть под перо, потому что там видно будет склон. Ну, их только хаешками взрывать как-то хз.
Одного уже взорвали.
В ответ взорвали.
Да, вот это подсыпка.
Ну, я говорил, что там типа сложно играть. Они не могут никуда пойти. Они могут только разнокать и идти наебало по полю по опену.
О, нокнул второго тоже в ноги, да? Хорошо. Лянычка тут.
Так непривычно ТЕ видеть, типа, в списке.
Матчей будет 10.
Сегодня 5.
Сегодня 5. Найс хае, блин.
Sungjong's grenade came up short, but was able to win it in the long run. And he's been huge here for Bagel today.
It's good to see you, Pio. I don't know where you've been in the past couple of days, but...
you can never count him out.
Okay, so looking at the way that the lineup has come out, TE still has to move in. They do have a crate that's going to be landing in front of them that might actually offer some type of cover for what's going on. BGP also get themselves in the northeast. FaZe has the southeast, and then to the southwest, it's going to be Petrichor Road with Cheeksing, who's just kind of being cheeky.
Я не знаю, куда он ползет, он все равно типа там нигде не ляжет.
It's just going to be a four corners battle.
Да в тачке тоже не уезжает. Он на самом деле может от перо кого-нибудь забрать.
Не, ну одного-то он схавает, а потом сдохнет.
Doing some prodding towards Petrichor Road. They did get a knock on a TE. Looks like it should be resable for the Expendables. And
Еда.
You like how he just like lays down and just looks away, like just do it, man. Just do it.
Куда ты лутаешься? Иди дерись с остальными.
Ну, кстати, фейзам бонус приятный. Минус пирожка, я думаю.
Нихера себе поймал.
With the rat now gone, it's going to be Petrichor Road. Looking back into FaZe, FaZe says, okay, that ended too fast. Let's step away from it. We still have control over this sight line. Petrichor Road still continuing to harass TE. I do want to point out before we switch over, though, look at the leaderboard. You were talking about those top three teams. The lead just continuing to surmount up there.
Exactly. It's crazy. I mean, how much these top three teams are just currently running away with things. Bagel Pot has the edge of this fence for now. Eventually, most likely, they're going to have to cross the street. Oh, they don't.
Ну, ТЕ умирают,
Actually shifted up into their
Перо
direction.
умирает,
Forget it.
БГП
They're good
выигрывает.
to go, and now everybody else has to start pushing through. Gustav right on the edge of the new circle.
Ну им там из-за этой части забора... А, не, нормально. Думал, неудобно будет стрелять, там то, что
Не,
высоко.
просто смотри, сейчас все вместе вначале зафармят ТЕшников, потом пирожки пойдут по лесу в сторону фейзов, сдохнут от них, останется два фейза, которых отпиздит БГП.
Так, предсказательно Скуби дал свой прогноз.
Есть еще второй вариант, сейчас пирожки просто сядут не в тачку, поедут куда-то наебало, рассыпятся и...
Chill. I mean, that's all that is required of them. The other teams are gonna, the other teams are gonna have to fight through the skinny trees. And again, to make matters worse, it's skinny trees, so you can't fully hide behind them.
Учитывая, что пирожки азиаты, они сейчас возьмут тачку, сядут вчетвером в нее и поедут под забор к БГБшкам вчетвером в одном УАЗике.
Ну это вообще глупо, когда фейзы живые.
Раскидывают смоки на тачку.
Почему он проходит так свободно?
Oh, X-Lift gonna go down, and now it's gonna be TE making the assault in. We said that this is gonna be how it goes. Instead, it's gonna be Petrichor Road now looking into TE. PGP just kind of reining in.
ТЕшки закончились первые.
Pick up whatever kills he can. Petrichor Road sitting on 6. FaZe, though, playing this one more cautiously. Does mean the fact that they're surviving. Damage out and really force a step away. If they can move in and just get a little closer, as we're going to be moving into the next circle, that means that PGP.
Ну Пио делал хорошо, но чуть не сдох. Вот под прикрытие своих, это да.
Вот, например, его.
Trouble as they have 2 knocks down, and Pio is keen to try to finish the job.
Mill right now, the best player for BGP as he gets that knock. Nades are now going to be coming out. They know the opportunity is there. Pio leaning up into the way. One of the members going to go down.
Да ладно, они еще потеряли типа.
Diggory's got to make sure that he's responding quite quickly with the way that the circle's popped. FaZe is actually outside of the circle fence, trying to stretch out, seeing if maybe he can get a flank around onto Pio, as it is just a bold front man push coming into this one, playing opposite side of the smoke. It's going to be Songyong. See how this goes. 8C stepping around. Nade's going to
Ой, там ног сейчас будет. Синджонг. А, там это.
Still on the outside, and this is a late game blue. You know they're going to have to move in a second.
This gave him the opportunity to get back up to 4. You can see Songjong going to catch a glimpse of Vex, but 8C
Однако БГПшки не справились. Пусть выиграли.
Looks away from it. He has to run away now. He is so outnumbered. This is going to be a heroic attempt to try to get something out of this. Now, looking back down.
Ну да.
Что мешало всем просто потом на тачке подъехать под ЛГшку и ну не дохнуть, а ждать пока они выйдут.
always pays a big for.
Oh, they're going to trade games here. Bagopal was able to get the better of FaZe in the previous one, and now they're going to come through with the big win. I mean, it feels like 2019 all over again, Matchroom. We've got PO coming up big. We've got FaZe coming up big. Storylines leading into the grand finals are certainly setting up nicely.
Oh, yeah, and again, just 10 games. So,
Им там всем одинаковые термосы выдали, что ли? Что-то, по-моему, я уже несколько таких термосов. Да, да, да.
This is just going to become more and more pressure for teams, and we talked about it at the start. You got to not crack. You got to be your superstar, and you got to step up now.
Они все, да, с этими видел, с прошками сидят.
С G-Pro?
Да, большинство.
There is so much to look at and so much to figure out. What do these teams need to do to move forward? Claris, I know you guys have all the answers.
But not that much time to do so. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We've got a FaZe here, which felt like a matter of time before they were going to get a win if the circles.
Я сам у себя на стриме заработал дропсы. Серьезно? Так можно было, да?
Ну, если ты смотрел сам себя.
Нет, у меня чат открыт только. Ну чё, перерыв в чат. Я пошел кайфовать на диван. Чё?
Wildcard was up there. They were just holding the back edge and not sort of giving the backup that they needed there against Bagopal. But the reality, I mean, Bagopal has been incredibly strong.
Там сейчас Мирамары?
Because if they did, that might just be a non-factor going forward.
Или Мирамары были уже? Не, подожди.
The rate that they're at here, Poro, they may just have already attained top 4 as long as that average. I mean, even if the average slips slightly, they've put in so many points in 3 games alone.
I mean, it seems weird to say, right, when we still have 7 games to play, but I mean, when you get 3 games in a row, and all 3 go southeast, you know, I guess southwest rather. I guess we know exactly who benefits the most from southwestern circles at this point because. Boy, they are just stacking to the point, but I think you hit the nail on the head. FaZe needed to win that game.
Yeah, it was a good circle for them, and we've seen them get to the late game in quite a few of these ones, so they're able to convert. FaZe, game number 3 here for the lower bracket, round 2. It goes their way, and they bag some big points here, Toffees.
They played clean, they played smart, they played calm, they got that res there at the end to make sure it was a 3v2 when it needed to be. These guys did very, very well, but Bagopal still comes out because of the 14 kills on top of the leaderboard. They are starting to feel unstoppable. I mean, in groups, they felt slow. That's no hints of that anymore.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, Seongjan in groups was scouting forwards for them, but even then, playing the edge play that they were playing and things like that really wasn't working out in groups. Here, though, it is looking pristine as we take a look at FaZe getting themselves the victory here. Really not much conversion going on, Poro, overall, but a win's a win.
That's exactly the point, right? I mean, it might only be 3 kills, but they were holding down that south side, and nobody was really over there. Nobody really ever pressured them at all. And again, it's the same teams, right, that we kept seeing over and over again that were at the top of that leaderboard. Now, where it's going to start getting interesting now is now that we're moving over to Miramar, right? Now, I'm sure we're going to see some new circles. And looking at this overall leaderboard, we looked over towards winner bracket 1 and loser bracket 1 to see where that cut line was for about 4th place. Looking like about 80-ish points. If you get like 80 to 85, you're probably feeling okay.
It was, for me, looking at coming into this as well as we take a look at the top 4, it's very important that FaZe got the win off Bagopal, because if not, there would have already been about a 20-point difference between Expendables and FaZe, and that you can't let that happen after just 3 games here, Toffees.
I do want to also give a shout out to Petrichor. They had a chance. They've moved up. They got a much better finish than the previous 2 games, and they were the only team that I think could have challenged FaZe for that position, but they got stabbed in the back. The sneaky deaky by TE cost them a player and sort of set up FaZe to just be the controlling factor on that hill, and they never looked back.
And the circles for Expendables, likewise, in all 3 of these games, it feels like they've been able to convert something decent, not necessarily off huge aggression, Poro, but they've been ever present, they've got them, they've backed themselves their points, and they've walked away with it nicely.
And again, I don't want to keep harping on it because it feels like a broken record at this point. But again, 3 Southwestern circles in a row. Yeah. Now that we're switching over to Miramar, though, can they keep that up? We got 2 more to play today before 3 in the morning, or 3 at the beginning of the day tomorrow. So you got 5 games in a row on Miramar to try to find your footing here and try to catch up to these leaders of the pack and hope that maybe Begopah starts slipping.
Speaking of keeping up, it's BBL we're looking at on the screen, and I think one of their biggest struggles for them has been keeping up past that sort of 10 or 15 minute mark. Their rotations have been rough for me in the early game, especially when we look at Miramar. So I'd like to see them come out strong in this one, play a little more carefully on the rotations, and get to that mid-late game. That's where BBL is better.
You're hoping on Miramar the top 3 especially get wounded somewhere along the lines, because all 3 of the top 3, all 4 of the top 4 had a really strong Erangel thanks to these circles, and Miramar can kind of change that a little bit.
I want to come back tomorrow where we're not battling for one spot, right? Like we want those 4 to be up so we can have a good time. Buriram, this is another team that I really want to see them do well here on Miramar. Noadra, one of the most expensive players in fantasy, and they just haven't really put it together. They are sitting in 7th, but only 15 points. I mean, really everyone from sort of 5 below is wide open. There's just no points there.
I mean, Pora Cheeksing's making a argument that he should have been the most expensive player on the team, because he's looking good so far.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's looked, at times this tournament, and especially in solo situations, he's looked like he's got complete control of the situation. He's got great confidence in his own skills. Cerberus, another team that we haven't really seen kind of take off just yet. I know Tycon was the man, and deservedly so from his performance early on, but it's just been slow sledding for these guys. A lot of these teams, it feels like they're just getting involved in these fights that are taking way, way, way too long. As when you look at the guys at the top of the leaderboard, it's very quick, very done, quick. They move on to the next fight.
I mean, I'll just say it. Tycon looks like a new dad with 3 babies strapped to him. Because right now the rest of his team just isn't carrying their own weight. And Tycon, I'm just saying, I don't know what he has to do. I don't know if it's a pep talk, but he needs to get the rest of his team sort of up to that level, because Tycon is blowing my mind. The rest of them, not so much.
Yeah, and it seems more visible in these first 3 games. Maybe they're not playing that well into those kinds of circles, because we did see tendencies there. But Sonics on the opposite side, if they were able to hold on to that compound against Begopah, even though Begopah is looking so hot right now, they could have potentially converted some decent points here.
I mean, I tell my son, make better choices. These guys came out and did it. They've been doing it all day today.
Good choice,
They're picking good spots. Their rotations are strong. They've been getting caught, I think, in some frustrating exchanges, but they're still putting points on the board. So we'll take that, especially when, 4th and below is right around that 15 mark.
Yeah, I've got no problems with how Sonics is playing so far today. I think they look like a completely different team than they looked early on in this tournament. They're actually winning their fights, and if they have a couple of things go their way, maybe we'll see them at the top.
All right, let's shift it over to the desert then. We're going to Miramar here for our last 2 games of the day as we head over to the commentators. Let's see if these teams can bag themselves some big points.
Oh, color me happy right now, because if Erangel has been chaotic as it is, you know Miramar is going to be fun. I always like to watch the top fight their way through Miramar, because so much strategy, so many rotation capabilities. Love it.
I absolutely love Miramar to death. This is my favorite map to watch personally. The plane path is going to be a little bit eastern shifted. Nothing too crazy here though as far as Miramar goes, but all right, you know what? I'm going to take this moment to just bask in the glory that is Begopah, because I feel like I'm here.
We'll allow it. It's not Gen G, I understand, but we'll go ahead and give it to you.
But it kind of is. It's like Gen G 2.0. Look, I mean, I think obviously everybody knows who PO is. Arguably the greatest player of all time. Yeah.
Sorry, who are you talking about?
Who's this guy? The GOAT? Tamin, who's playing here today, has been his sidekick oftentimes.
Вставай на него, я жопу иди, комментируй ровно.
2019 PGC. So this is a team that is really good. Tamin is really good at reeling in PO at times when he gets too aggressive or too wild or too out on his own. So you've seen today Begopah, I think, playing a little bit more condensed than we're used to seeing at times. Even though PO still go out on these solo missions, they're well calculated, they're well thought out. DG98 won the FACEIT Global Summit with OPGG, so he is an excellent player in his own right. He's one of the best rats in the world, I would say, and I mean that in the best way possible. North Circle.
Блин, я тут подумал так и решил, может мне сухари погрызть, пока мы смотрим, а, чат? Вот вы же сидите, что-то кушаете, наверное, да? Я что-то тоже хочу что-то поесть. Как вы вообще смотрите на это?
actually goes out and does PO things, and then he's
Насколько сильно меня слышно вообще?
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, it is.
As we come into PO.
В сухарях Хейнс томатный. Понимаю.
He's showing up right now. He's pretty good. Also, 98 in there, doing a good job as well. So, looking through, if you guys were tuned in yesterday, we did also have a circle that ended up around this area, as we did see some love around the church that was up in here. So, we might see something lean into the north. This is an area that doesn't always get the most love. We tend to see like that water treatment area, that area just north of Hacienda get a lot of love. But there's a lot of very interesting fighting. Death Star Trench over into the east, the area all above that to the north. I mean, really, how often do you get to see anything up around Oasis? Because we got Nikos that's even looting up there. I'm a sucker for Oasis, and we never get to see it.
I know. I think only the EU boys have been lucky enough to get the Oasis.
Let's will it into play. Come on,
it's too on the edge. It just can't happen.
No, no.
I hate to be that guy, Matt. But okay, well, you know what? I'll try to will it anyway. I want it as well.
No, I don't want it anymore.
Oh,
That's the way
I see
we
how
got
it
it.
is.
I don't want it anymore. Okay. Coming back in, I do have to say, Duck Juice has been extremely like.
У меня пиво плюс сухари. Блин, у меня тоже есть пиво, но я потом хочу типа в пабг поиграть вроде как хочу.
То есть ты сам не пьешь пиво и не ешь сухари, потому что хочешь поиграть в пабг, а при этом зовешь меня с пивом и сухарями играть после этого в пабг. Я правильно понял?
Ну мне пофиг, как ты будешь играть, я-то буду стримить и как-то будет стримновато.
А какая разница? Ну, что ты будешь с пивом, что ты будешь без пива. Тебе надо-то всего лишь типа сдохнуть, как обычно, в начале, а потом разговаривать.
Давай не базарь.
I feel kind of bad right now because we've been watching so much new happy, so much BBL. These guys have been scrapping early games. They've been having to go through like some just hellacious in games as well. And they're in the pack, but they're not up there with.
Что за фигня? Пиво начало отрываться.
And you know that has to be, I wouldn't say like morally like bad or anything else like that. It's just got to be frustrating.
Мы в первой набили там 26 поинтов.
Так тут же насрать.
И все.
Просто надо войти.
Не восьмерку, а в четверку.
Четверку?
4 команды только выходят.
Подожди, 4 выходят, а остальные ничего.
Last chance.
You know, both teams are making the most of these bad situations, but again, early fighting.
А, и 4 еще из этих, да?
Да.
QM has been mostly clean in their early fighting, or at the very least, they know when to back the hell off. Ooh, a Mark 14, Ibis. Congratulations.
You about to be happy.
Very, very happy.
Looking in, we might have some.
Я чувствую, когда Генги играет Last Chance.
Is going to move to the northwest trench. And that's going to be pretty close to where freaks are at. So freaks are going to be able to see what's going on over there.
Джинджи не прошли?
Ну, они там на 18-м или каком были. Ой, на 15-м. Короче, они всего пару каток играют.
Денис Александрович, квешн-марки, наша СНГшная команда, квешн-марки на втором месте, QM. QM. Что говорил?
Да, неважно. Вампа или чел.
Чё?
Вампа или чел. Интересно, если Адоус выиграет, он все-таки поедет к Богарту или нет?
Кто поедет к Богарту?
Ну, ты знаешь за эту ситуацию?
Нет.
Ну, мы сидели, играли, Адоус посрался с Богартом,
так.
Богарту ему кидает адрес в личку, говорит, приезжай, сука, я тебе ебал.
Подожди, так Адолт же тоже плюс-минус откуда-то там рядом.
Ну, он из Москвы тоже, да.
И чё, Адолт съехал с этой темы?
Бля, делать нехуй ему ехать куда-то еще. Ну, было весело.
Yeah, this is Bagel Paz style. This is what we see them do all the time. They're very late to the first circle. Typically, when you watch them in Asia, what they're doing is they're gonna gun.
Тогда что изменится, если он выиграет, я не понял.
They're
Типа максимально уверенно. Ну там началось с того, что это типа Адоус мусор. Что он типа играть не умеет, там все дела. Можно хорошо сыграть и с уверенным ебалом ехать доказывать.
Нахер вообще что-то доказывать. Вот если бы по кастрюле настучать, это нормально. А что-то доказывать вообще нахер надо.
A lot to be said when you're trying to hold that much territory, because at a certain point people just got to send it, and it doesn't even matter if they know somebody's there or not. You just got to go, as well as sometimes you just got to go pick up your teammate and see if you can flip the car, and it's gonna happen. There you go. Respect. See, Sung Young not putting in just the work with the guns, also making sure to keep teammates.
Yeah, that's not going to show up on your fantasy team. Look at that. That's a hero play right there.
We should give respect points for fantasy right there. Like, right there.
They should give us the ability to like vote and like give extra points.
Yeah,
for
like
stuff.
somebody does a backflip on a motorcycle, 5 extra points. You know?
Yes. Well, then everybody would be doing backflips.
And you say it like it's a bad thing.
No, I was laughing, so I think it's a good thing.
It's the amazing thing.
Ой, какая... Ой, какой фейл, боже!
It looks like Cerberus does not want to look too far down inside that one. Zover Peakers do a good job of at least protecting Vard. That means he's going to be playing good position as well. So
Сейчас в финале пока 8 команд.
and it could get even more awkward if CES is not careful, as they still have New Happy that's going to be coming in back behind him.
You can see Tycon seeing if he can catch OP off guard a little bit. Just
Тайкон бы так не зафейлил.
Cerberus has left, but nobody peeking out too far as Mexi just content to stick around it. We call that in Korea the muscle house, because it kind of looks like a dude flexing his muscle, you know, the long houses. What do you think? A little bit?
I can kind of see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like me flexing a muscle.
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
that's
it's like, if you say it's there, then yeah, I guess.
Yes. I mean, that's exactly what I thought too. I'm like, well, that's not a very big bicep in the middle.
I mean, we are dealing with esports players here, unless you're nail up, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah,
О, если вот так садиться, то не слышно вообще, как я сухари жру.
That fits. It's okay.
Groza?
Always good to have in hand is Wildcard, who's been active, hasn't been a focus of a lot of what we're watching because they've been involved in a lot of the edge play, kind of like what you were talking about. This is a team that can be kind of chaotic, right? But whenever you look at Adam, Waika Kamukau, Nikos Gregshot, these guys have been around for a long time. Adam is a known technical...
Блин, эти наши новые команды вообще никто не знает их. Кто вообще наши?
То ли дело садовник.
Да, то ли дело, блин, садовник.
Или форзы, которые все знали, но которые нихуя не могли.
Слишком сложно было.
Like they said, their biggest focus overall is just avoiding getting smashed in between other teams on the edge. So
Да я вижу, что слышно, блин. Любое движение в моем рту слышно.
amazing, but not bad at all. I'd say they've improved slightly.
Не АМы, а КУМы. АМов вообще в принципе нету. Вот эти челики. Да блин, не успел показать.
Там Адоус, ой, этот Адоус по спейс пишет в чате, типа 0.3 АВГ поинт, закатку неплохой результат, все окей.
Это он кому пишет?
Да в чате просто.
Ну, в отношении кого?
Ну посчитай, у кого 0.3 поинта закатки.
У Пашек, что ли?
Narrowly getting into cover at the same time as H1, but if they even reveal a piece of their body, they're going to go down, and they end up doing that. Sonic's eliminated first.
Oh god, Begopa with only 2 players crashing into a compound held by 3
Блин, что-то чемпионы сдохли.
They might have scouted this and thought it was open. No, sir.
Опять?
Как жаль, как жаль. Блять, вот сейчас бы на NA паблик, вот то ли дело, вот кайф был бы. А тут что-то все попадают.
Но они на самом деле на ротациях сдохли, то что в этой игре, что в предыдущей, по-моему.
Я говорю, все попадают, ты едешь, а тебе попадают, хуйня какая-то вообще.
Looking in, not too much else happening right now after the catastrophe for those two teams. Looking through, they've been really the only deaths on top of that. Sonic's 4, and then we look at the 2 that we just lost for them, BGP. So BGP, who's been sitting at the top right now, this could be an opportunity for these other teams.
Чекай, Тоглтон уходит в Иллстак.
Думаешь?
После глобала.
Good news here for BBL as well. No early losses.
Ну, точнее, может быть не так, может быть он забирает типов с Ю, и они остаются где-нибудь в Сониках, ну, либо в NA какой-нибудь арге.
Ну, кого, например? С кем он играет часто?
С кем он играет часто? Ну, с Марсельком он играет часто, с Фейзом. Ну, Фас уже играть точно не будет. Кто там из... Не знаю, там Никзи, Сквизи я видел, они играли.
Может, ликвиды посыпятся вообще.
Как ликвидам похер, это их ласт турнир вроде, сколько я понял.
Это Востака?
Да. Они же поэтому, типа, и трахали первые дни, потому что, ну, их вообще ничего не напрягает, они просто чинили.
They're expecting an eastern circle shift eventually, but it's actually going to be south instead. So New Happy gambling a little bit.
Бурерам с кайфом.
Я надеюсь, коемы поедут куда-то под ватерку.
Коемам с кайфом было бы сейчас какую-нибудь заправку просто приехать.
Ну да.
Но это
чтобы не сверху играть. А, Данте уже помер, походу.
Question mark, so a couple of shots being exchanged as Dante is going to try to retreat away from this. This is outside the circle, so these two teams jockeying for whoever's going to be moving first. And also, this is very far removed from everything that's going to be going on. Savior does get the drop, takes down Dante, but the other members of GEX also could have vision on question mark's other 3 members. Have to see if that carries over. Petrichor Road just going to be the south of what's happening over there. Meanwhile, we're about to see a couple pop-off moments as it looks like overpeakers are going to have to move.
А че он тут один стоял вообще?
Это что там погодки?
This is pretty funny here with GEX and QM. They're like making the exact same play. They're leaving 2 anchors up on the mountain. Savior just gets the better. Speaking of getting the better of, he gets a doozy here as well. But got the better of Dante. Now picks up he already had a Mark 14. I saw you the Gilly. So he was already feeling pretty groovy.
Пацаны там за узик в будке нормально.
С интробиками вообще какая-то хуйта.
0 кило.
Ну, Лукарукс бы сейчас в нормальном своем состоянии вообще шанса не оставил челу. Тут он сдох как лох.
Коемы сдохли как лохи тут.
So now just 1 up for question mark, and that's going to be a bigger problem as Wildcard hear this and Petrichor Road hear this as well.
I could hear SSR on that one through the headset. He was feeling it there. Hobbit's trying to put some fire down on other members of GX, keep them off of his house. Not looking so
Ой, это
good.
неплохо сейчас постреляно.
Savior's got him down to 6 HP, but no, just actually it's Ming here from Petrichor Road who wants a third party this and just sweeps through GEX. Hobbit's trying to win this fight, not going to happen. GX might have to worry about Petrichor Road next.
Yeah, they just run in. Meanwhile, Wildcard Adam going on an adventure, takes a couple of shots and steps away from it. The high ground advantage for Wildcard still providing a lot of vision. I want to point out FaZe did manage to navigate that hillside right down below them as moved into next to water treatment plant as well. So this hillside firefight is going to be moving on for quite a while. GEX is building also not inside the safe zone, so they're about to have to make their own rotation out of here. Looks like they're going to be moving out into a circle 3
Так их сына мылились.
trying to wrap around Petrichor Road where they're going to have sight lines
Вниз и по дорожке куда-нибудь залетать в этот вотерку.
Алкаши!
Guess who? BBL is going to be the team that's down there.
Yeah, look at this. Petrichor Road has read this rotation from GX
Похер там третий.
nicely. At least seeing if maybe they can get an opportunity to do some damage. But GX has found enough cover momentarily. Aches left in a vehicle, trying to cut this rotation off with members of Petrichor Road running down the hill right at GX. They want these points.
Наши это кто? Да бля!
Ну, если судить по русским серверам, то вот Перо наши, Гексы наши, ТЕ наши.
Тайлу.
Тайлу наши. Если по такой логике рассуждать.
This isn't going to be too hard. It looks like Long Man's going to be able to take this one down.
He's got to be a bit careful. Only Aches left for backup. Yan Lee far enough away from that grenade will not get.
Пубг же не дота, говорит. Базара нет.
Get another one to go a little bit more towards Yan Lee.
Вон на второй строчке в турнирной таблице, которые сдохли уже. Вот это наши.
The job and GEX gone here. GEX trying to get a little more proactive in this game. I appreciate that. But when you got teams like Petrichor Road Lumen, they are going to punish you every time.
Now the question comes in, where does Petrichor Road go with the shift being more leaned into the east? Oh,
Блин, анлаки, конечно, произошел.
This is like show me a tragedy in 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, that's Sonics. Eventually they get caught from behind.
Да ладно! Ты видел? Просто в пяточку доруинил.
Another BBL has the gas station underneath the water treatment area, but that is outside of the next circle map, so they're eventually going to have to push in, maybe use that hillside.
Неплохо едут вперед, кстати.
Wildcard has just got a number on them right now.
Давай, мол, до свидания.
Still try to hold on to this high ground. They know that they can move ahead of the zone, keeping multiple members right up against the wall right now. They're saying the fact that it's worth. Let's go ahead and pick up these kills out of it. Now it's going to be a massive problem. Xlef's going to have to move in on foot. OP is now finding themselves some friends. It's going to be CES that's just going to be the east of their positioning. CES, though, has to make the move. All these teams, they're having to get inside of fights on the outside or leading into mutually assured destruction stages. They know that they need to separate out. That's what CES is trying to do. Hop in the vehicle, get out, avoid what's going on with Overpeakers. Overpeakers just on the hunt for any kills as they know that they're going to have to walk into a very precarious position inside the circle.
Yeah, Overpeakers only at 2 points and
Ну, если сейчас коимы выйдут, то нахер даже Ласчен смотреть не буду, только на финал уже. В финале хотя бы у нас будет как минимум уже 2 СНГ команды там.
Oh man, BGP almost got enough help to make that one work. But with this, Cerberus comes in with 2 members, not the most comfortable, but guess what?
О, ГГ Церберусом. У него еще и хая под себя упала.
Жестко нашу будку запушили.
Now this bad spot that they were worried about becoming great because everybody's heading into this shack and they are just raining hellfire on them.
It's a party and everybody's invited at that shack, no doubt. Wildcard is doing a lot of damage here to New.
Ну как Wildcard переигрывает New Happy? Ну я не понимаю. Ну как? Как же New Happy плохо стали играть? Они вообще ничем не выделяются.
Тоже дело ликвидита.
Фейзы это европейцы. Я не понимаю, почему многие считают, что Фейзы это наша команда.
Может, потому что Обух нам играл.
И чё? Ну это странно максимально.
Look at this, they're profiting. Wildcard, Nikos picking up Smash as well, so BBL down to just 3 players. Ooh, no. Is this where they want to go? I'm not sure, but they're going to have to because they.
Ты ничего не понимаешь, такой был план. Кстати, такая ЛГ хорошая тут.
Да, там кайфовая ЛГ.
Phases sight lines, but they're going to get spotted out by AT. Decent spray there, gets a bit of damage, runs out of bullets. Diggory looking for the long grenades here, and he's got quite a few to work with.
OP is not moving into the circle. They don't want to contest against Burram. They were trying to come in back behind TE. Damage. Oh, AT. Oh, this is a very expensive.
Это было хорошо.
They're all gonna drop. That was just brutal. Now OP has to make
Блин,
their
очередных
assault
наших
into
убили.
Burram's defensive line. Has Burram been too tunnel vision? Now shots gonna
За каких наших ты теперь болеешь?
all of the defensive line is gonna have to turn back around.
Я
Guess what?
за
Wildcard still sees
русский
everything that's
регион.
going on.
Man, Wildcard playing with a ton
Ну
of
вот эти вот там
confidence right
хуя,
now.
моя, вот эти.
Ну, это за кого конкретно в этой игре?
Это за всех.
That grenade from Wakikamuka is gonna finish the job.
Ну, главные фавориты на Сониках вылетели, остаются только вот эти вот. Хуя моя.
They know where FaZe is, and they're going to start moving aggressively into that area. So, with the lineups now coming.
Хорош, Джимс, классно прикрывает, кстати. Нордера тупо с забора херачит.
Looking into this firefight might find themselves distracted and has got to be careful. It's going to be actually the Freaks taking shots all the way across the map into Wildcard.
Куда они дели фастфейза? Так он состарился уже.
Спейс на тренере.
Their side of the mountain. FaZe has their own little piece of the pie, sure, but Wildcard controls the rest. See where the circle wants to go. This go around, it's going to head to the south away from the Kwangdong Freaks. Ruram still controlling one of those. Hikari trying to put some damage into CC. He's the only member of Tai Lu out here on his own. The other two pushed out further ahead. Hikari going to be the spear for the Freaks. Let's see if they can find any purchase, see if they can break the lines of Tai Lu and get a position in this next circle.
I want to point out also, BBL is still alive. They were in a dangerous spot. They made that send in. They had to stop where they stopped at, but it was center circle and still inside the circle as well, so they don't have to make too much of a move. Cerberus finally going to get eliminated, but it's going to be Freaks that are going to have to be a big factor inside of what's going on. This is Wildcard's earlier fight from just a second ago and how they managed to take down New Happy, but
Что за замесы, блин, с одних гранат все умирают.
You can see there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I really want to give BBL a ton of credit here today. Their macro's been really good. They've been getting deep into a lot of games, and oh no.
That nade.
Oh no.
How's it going to connect? Oh, Gustav manages to run away from it, but just narrowly. It is just Greg shot over here to harass FaZe. FaZe is about to have to move out. And really, this
А почему BBL так пассивно играют?
Yeah, Lash K is going to be early back. He just spotted out one of the members of BBL. Code Marco going to try to play off that grenade.
Ну как?
Gets the knock onto Akkad. Lash trying to keep some cover fire down to keep Akkad alive. Gets a touch of damage into Code Marco. The molly is out. Is that going to land on the Lash K? Indeed, it does. Lash trying to back up. He needs help. He needs reinforcements.
And they are not going to come. Wildcard supervising all of this fight. BBL doing a good job on just controlling this dip, stepping away. Finally going to have one of the members go down.
Ясно, они там просто не могут играть по-другому.
On, taking some shots into BBL's backside. Tai Lu trying to make a move through this one, trying to survive, dodging the bullets, going full on Matrix, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to go down to Cheeksing, and now we are moving in. 5 teams still up, but with the way Freaks are lined up on the outside of this and BBL holding down this, it's going to be 4 in just a second.
Ian with a big flank, and that's going to finish the job for the Freaks. They're able to keep 3 up and push through and control
Смэш
the
расстроился.
side of the circle. But like you were talking about earlier, there's still some overview here from FaZe, from Wildcard, potentially with this high ground position. Burram as well, you know, has a pretty decent compound.
Смэш выглядит как добряк.
Put some hurt down into the Freaks, but I think there's enough hills that they're going to be mostly okay.
See the fact that there's 3 members of Burram because Edie already hopped inside of a vehicle and is moving into Freaks positioning. They want to make sure that they get control over the southeastern area. That does mean that Adam is going to get some vision. Wildcard starting to stretch out as well. Looks like they're trying to regroup more to the north. It's going to be YK Kamukal teaming up with Adam as this is going to be all of the vision for days. While this is up against the edge of the zone, they're going to see so much. And just really any attrition damage, burn off armor, burn off helmets, make them use meds, everything from this
Чё, Бурирамы вы? Ну да.
is going to be impactful for the final fights.
Yeah, precisely, Matt. The more damage they can do, the better while they still have this high ground. Well, they're still probably going to have it for a little bit longer. Burram's Edie going to be outside of the new circle, trying to kind of guess where the next circle is going to go.
Ну, скорее всего, КДФ закончатся первые, фейзы вторые.
Trying to find a new position. FaZe completely clumped up on this western side. Has the edge of the circle in, but it's on a road, and if anybody gets an angle onto FaZe, whether it be with a grenade or shots, they're going to be potentially in a decent amount of trouble.
Well, Burram and Wildcard can't. Every single time either one of them goes for a move.
Там чувак тупо сидит АФК, не видит, как поверху бегают кенты. Не стреляет.
And other than that, it's listening for footsteps coming from Burram. They know that. Holding down the area that they can try to keep from. Wildcard, they've been active for so long, it feels like the other 3 teams are now starting to join forces and say, okay, let's take care of wildcard first, and then we'll fight each other, because these guys are really annoying.
Exactly. I mean, you can see that.
Вообще КДФом бы приехать под этих, под вайлдкардов в граунд.
Там Бурерама не дадут
под
играть.
Адамом. А?
Они не смогут там играть, мне кажется.
В смысле, под Адамом, фулл сейф, ЛГшка. Единственное, кто им там будет мешать, это сами вайлдкарды сверху.
Oh man, picked apart two different ways. They do manage to at least get into the circle, but Wildcard's like, hey, I've got an idea. It's gonna be the same idea. I want these kills. Adam's just gonna jump down, follow around. Quick Spray's gonna finish it out. Now Wildcard has control over half of the circle, the north, while FaZe Clan and Burrom have to split up. Burrom says, nope, we don't like that idea. It's time to go after FaZe.
It's beautiful timing here from Wildcard. As soon as those two knocks come in, they know that they need to gain space. They were clumped up, grenades out on top of FaZe. Gustav there, that one's gonna roll too far to knock him, does a little bit more of damage. Waikikamukau trying to get involved, but Canaxi able to put down some covering fire for Cheeksing, give him a moment to get back, and there is a really nice long-range spray with the Groza. Is that double level 3 guns here for Nikos? He's got a Mark 14 and a Groza? Not fair.
I think that they have a goal, and that goal is to let Nikos kill the rest of the lobby. The way that the other two teams are lined up, FaZe Clan's gonna go down. This is just continuing stack. Burrom, can you stop the onslaught and the snowball that Wildcard are bringing? Because you're the last ones left. You've got the defensive wall. What are you going to try to do to move into that no man's land? Because look, there's...
Так они закрыли перо, закрыли New Happy.
But this is what a game for Wildcard, Matt. 18 kills. If they get all of Burrom, they're going to end up with 22 total. I'm not sure if that's the PGC record or not off the top of my head, but goodness gracious, what a performance we're seeing here.
За одну игру камбэкнули, можно сказать.
They could potentially get even higher if they can finish this game out. And Nikos, level 3 gear, barely scratched. You've got those two just perfect.
Уже 24 поинта ему пало, было 9, блин. Представляешь?
Wonderful Australian player coming up big for them.
I mean, this is a team we know that always has massive potential. Whenever they can read a circle, you can see they just know how to take control over.
Это не wildcard, я бы сказал, что это чемпионы мира на Сониках.
Burrom, not capable of doing too much right now, still backs up against the literal wall of the building complex that they held beforehand, and the blue zone right back behind them. There's nowhere to go. You can see Wildcard is separated out. Waikikamukau is going to be into the east with Adam on his double up. Greg Shot now moving forward. Nikos hopping inside of a vehicle. This is just a straight up firing line. The moment that Burrom has to move.
Что с туалетами? Они всех закрыли? Какими туалетами? Ничего не понял.
Yeah, it's going to take a knock here for Burrom somewhere to really break this open, to get out from that hillside that they're stuck underneath. I mean, they're completely pinned in there. You can see Nikos has 2 frags at least. I'm not sure how many the rest of Wildcard has, but I assume they have to have a few more. You can see Nikos is already kind of swapping in.
Чего ждут Бурерама? Почему они в канале просто сидят?
Only 3 frags total, a couple mollies floating around.
Картинка выдавливать начнет.
They can find Burrom with those.
Ну так получается.
Range of that utility, they can end this pretty quick.
I don't know why you're not talking about ghillie suit showing up right now for Nikos, right? So impactful whenever we look at what's going to be going on here.
It's crucial to this.
Massive about what's going to go on. Burrom, they're going to Burrom it, and they're going to say, okay, let's not make this push on foot. Let's go ahead and send a distraction on one side. Nuadra's going to try to eat that, and he does. He is a good distraction on the side, taking some damage. It's going to be Greg Shot trying to defend this up. With this, it's going to open up the shot angles from Waikikamukau. Nuadra is going to go down. Nikos finding the nade into that one. Adam now going to reposition. You can see the entirety of Wildcard trying to reposition, because they realize how Burrom was wanting to try to make this move. But none of the other members got a move. It was just Nuadra. Are they now going to shift into the east? And this is almost like just watching a coordinated sports play, moving back and forth between the two of them. Exchanges. Nikos takes down Canaxi.
Переоценили мы немножечко.
Go down on the side of the fact of Wildcard. So 2 members up for Burrom as they're trying to limp their way into this one.
I mean, this
Им мешало сразу вот сюда выйти, куда они подъехали на камень, типа, изначально. Пока вайлдкарды там дрались с этими, с остатками.
And this is almost over. It's just Canaxi.
And here we go, moving forward. It is going to be a massive kill count for Wildcard, who takes this one with thunder. And applause coming out from them. They're going to be stepping up, moving into the top 4 off of a massive game.
22 kills, the best performance we've seen here at PGC 2022 so far, and it couldn't have come at a better moment for Wildcard Gaming. Unbelievable. The way they played that match was perfection. Just being so active on that map.
Вон тоже такой термин. Да, это им дали, PGC там написано.
It was just clean, point by point. That's one of those you need to go back and then just watch the map, how they move through.
Куда бы вискарика скулы.
I do like what Buram was trying to do here as well, was trying to exploit like a sweep onto one side of the launcher to be a distraction, to see if that opened up some sight lines for the other three, but they just could never move forward. Wildcard didn't take the bait, and I just really love to see the way that they played this one out. Is I feel like Wildcard is now going to have a lot of momentum moving into the next couple of games.
They got to be just on cloud nine right now. And yeah, absolutely. All the credit in the world to Buram here. They played a great game. They tried to do what they could, but the positioning too good. You know, the utility, the level 3 gear, just so impactful for Wildcard in that moment, and the positioning that Buram being pinned into, just too much to overcome.
It's going to be a big amount of points.
Ну чё, чат, последняя игра нас ждет с вами. Минут через 5.
Smashing the record for a chicken dinner. Wildcard gets the victory here on Miramar. Absolutely unbelievable. Toffees and Poro joining me for this one. Toffees, this was a spectacle.
It's the biggest 22 to come out of the Americas right now, man.
Yeah,
that was a big game for them. They put up some amazing numbers. And honestly, they just played. Nikos just was unstoppable. Kills through the smoke. It didn't matter.
Dismantling. And you know, the funny thing is we were sitting there watching it, James, and I'm like, oh man, this is something you don't see every day in this end game. But wait, was that not exactly the same end game that we saw in the losers bracket?
Yeah.
Game 5 where Buriram actually was on the wildcard side and put up a whole bunch of points.
Against Entropic, yes. Noticing those circles. And the thing is that for Buriram, they actually moved out and had a little bit more room to work with than Entropic did. Wildcard played it very patient and didn't really be oppressive. Why am I analyzing? Let's talk about the game.
I think I was flying in that day, so I don't remember that. But I will say this. They had more than enough utility. Wildcard played a very clean, progressive game. They kept refueling and refilling. And when it came to this, I mean, you saw it. They set Nikos forward. They just covered it with Molly after Molly and made a very clean finish. And probably one of the best games I've seen out of Wildcard in a very long time.
I mean, that's when you hang your cap on. That is Wildcard getting themselves the first Miramar here in the lower bracket round 2. And it's 32 points going their way. Well, that will not be defeated, I feel like, at this tournament here, Poro. It will be difficult for people to be able to break that one with Wildcard stamping it down.
I mean, that's just a marquee performance, right? That's a once in a lifetime almost at this level on this stage. I mean, that is absolutely huge for Wildcard. Now, you know, bringing it back down to earth a little bit though, Toffees. Of course, it's got to be me, the one that does it. You know, our regional team here. But this is what we've seen. We've seen from Wildcard so far this tournament, right? It's been a couple of really, really big games that keep them in it, but then it just nothing.
Feast or famine, but when the feast is this big, you never go hungry again.
Feast, man.
I mean, Nikos over 1,000 damage. We joke about the 16K club because that kills a quarter of the lobby. 22, only 64 players dropped. That's a third of the lobby that these guys took care of on their own.
Yeah, that's absolutely barbaric. That's 2 heroic plays coming out from Nikos and Waikikamuka. But to be honest as well, Greg Shot as well as Adam here just putting in work. An absolute clinic coming out from them. And it pushes them up to second place with that. They had a massive pounce into the top 4, Poro.
I really, really hope that it works out, that this is the thing that starts the snowball, right? That starts letting them open up and take a little bit more of those high-risk, high-reward plays so they can keep on building on this, because now they have given themselves a nice little cushion with 6 games remaining. And again, it's only 6 games, Tommy.
Listen, we came into the 4th game, we're like, man, Vegapod's about to run away with this. Wildcard has 1 game and automatically catches up to him beautifully at the top. I mean, it's incredible to see them come out and do that. But also, FaZe Clan is again showing up. QM showing up. These guys are not going anywhere.
No, definitely. That was Whew, I'm gonna have to recover from this one. This was.
They're gonna have to recover. You saw Nico's face like that. I mean, that was an adrenaline pump.
That was fantastic. I hope we get that for our second Miramar. So right, we're gonna go to a short break here, and when we return, we have one final game remaining for today. Let's see if anybody can top the good old wildcard spree.
Improvements to the folded shield, some spawn rate adjustments for vehicles, and a collaboration with one of the best footballers in the world. All this and more as we dive into the Update 20.2 patch report. First up, the folded shield is getting a few changes based on community feedback. The inventory weight has been reduced, weapon durability increased for both guns and grenades, and it now installs in half the time. You'll also find it a bit harder to run over than before, with a vehicle now needing to be going at least 10 kilometers per hour, instead of the 1 kilometer per hour it was before. In addition, the shield can now be placed back into your inventory, and deployment can be cancelled before it finishes. Let us know what you think about these requested changes. Next up, vehicles on Erangel and Miramar are getting a slight adjustment, with some spawning more and less frequently. You'll now find more UAZs and Dacias on Erangel, and more Mirados and pickups on Miramar. To contrast, we've lowered the amount of boats, buggies, and aqua rails on Erangel. And speaking of maps, this update's rotation will now include Erangel, Miramar, Tago, and Destin for all regions. Regions with map select enabled will also have the option of playing on Sanaa, while regions without will instead drop into Karakin. As usual, the ranked rotation will remain Erangel, Miramar, and Tago. This update also features a collaboration with one of the best footballers in the game, Neymar Jr. For a limited time, you can pick up several Neymar-themed items in the store. Gear up and score big. There's also a reduction in the number of multi-care packages on Tago, some MMR adjustments for normal games, new workshop skins, and more. So be sure to check out the patch notes for full details. Update 20.2 is here, so fold up your shield, pack up the Dacia, and go catch a ball game. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
No vest, no more bullets in the arm, and Shen finds Strimsy.
Oh no, how did nobody else on the other side of the cliff see Shen come down? Okay, they get him. Oh, Haven! That is beautiful.
2v4 Ming.
Oh, that was real smart though. Ming gonna find Gustav. He peeks over the side. He's gonna find 8C. No. And now another one. He's waiting. No. Fex will find Ming. But it's a 2v1 Mill. Can he find one? He finds Diggory. It's a 1v1. And Fex has no HP. And Ming.
calculated.
Sure.
Obviously
not. Okay.
I mean, this could not be better for Burem. Kills come through. 7-7-7. Lops the double on over. Expendables finds kill number 10 in the game. GX out before they knew what was even happening around them, and now.
Yeah, the teammates doing exactly what they should be doing, just suppressing down. The grenade gonna roll right on top of him. Finds Shrimsy, finds Tiggleton. H-Wing gets knocked extremely low.
The compound, they knew they had to do it eventually, and what better time than right now to make the play. Gustav takes down the final two from Sonic's space. Through. Just one more first they left to work with. Bacon making an aggressive play towards, and Tropic in the meantime could actually be the counter of it. That is a perfect molly. The nade lops in as well. Or did it bounce back out again? I'm not sure, but they will all fall to the fire of P.O.
Vortexing. Lost the spot. He's going to find Ming just on the edge of the smoke, and now Long has been spotted out as well, but that's it for the ammo.
Does he still have the other gun?
Oh, no.
He doesn't. He has no more bullets. Run for ammo. Run for ammo. No, Andre, he needs it on you.
Oh, no.
He literally doesn't have any ammo to work with. Pick up some ammo as fast as you can. Get the reload, and he hasn't swapped guns yet. There you go. Got the M4. Got the reload. Long is still alive. He's still holding the angle. M4 comes out, and he prevents.
And here we go, moving into our last game of the day. It's going to be an exciting barn burner going into it, as we just had a massive game coming up from Wildcard. So Lord only knows where we're going to be moving into after this one. So, I mean, 32 points shot them up from, like, to be honest, kind of the bottom of the leaderboard all the way up into second. That is a big come up for them.
Yeah, going by the other 10-game series we've had so far in terms of getting into the top four, 80-ish points will secure you the top four generally. So that's more than a third of the points you needed in one game to be there. Again, the biggest performance we've ever seen in PGC history. What a game from these boys. I mean, they said today, talking to them, that they just needed to play a little bit safer, not get sandwiched. They absolutely did not do that here. In fact, they were the ones doing the sandwiching, and they are feeling great.
It just comes back into it. That's always such a big component of whenever we're looking at PUBG and competitive PUBG, is understanding the risks and the rewards of every single one of your moves. You're talking about, like, why a lot of people tend to avoid that hillside. Well, you can see that if you understand the weaknesses of where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish, you can turn that into an advantage a lot of cases, and Wildcard just exploited the lobby with that. I asked you earlier, hey, do you think you can get into the top four without a chicken dinner? And you were like, man, maybe if we keep up the PPG and everything else. I don't know if it's going to be capable. Now, if we keep getting games like that, you got to at least secure one, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple teams that are just blowing the doors off of this right now, and it's really difficult to maintain your position in that top four without these big games that are being put up by some of these big teams. So, I mean, Bagel Paw still in the lead, but now that gap is extremely narrow, but with Wildcard nipping at their heels, and again, about 80 points is what you're looking for. So Wildcard, hey, one great game, the best game we've ever seen. can they repeat that performance?
Not enough. You got to make sure you're continuing to bring it. Now you can kind of lean into more just safer plays, play stylings like that, just try to hold into the lead. That's perfectly acceptable, but don't rest back on your laurels of one game and say, oh, well, we're just going to try to like come in circle 4 and fight then and do all this other stuff, because then you've surrendered the game.
Yeah.
What got Wildcard that win in such a massive victory was they controlled so much of that game for so long.
They were proactive, they were taking space that was given to them, and they were finding the right fights at the right times. It was everything that they wanted to do today, and they avoided, again, the traps of the edge that happen to teams. You know, we have a lot of edge teams these days in PUBG esports because we've gone back to the super rule format. Kill points are such a big part of the total point pool. They just naturally are, and so you're looking for those. So teams like to play on the edge. They like to go for fights. New Happy does this. Teams all over the world are doing this now, and Wildcard here plays it to perfection. Wonderful positioning on top of that hill. Again, the problem with that hill can be at times is that when the circle leaves it, you have to go down it.
Yeah.
And that's tricky because there's a lot of compounds, as you saw. There's a lot of flat space where teams are just going to have great sight lines on you when you get down.
It's just like what we saw in the game before this on Quarry. Whenever you have that high ground and then you have to walk down the wide open nothing and you've been pissing off teams for 10 minutes, they're going to make sure they punish that walk down the side of it. I do like the fact that we're seeing Burram make it in the late game yet again.
Yeah.
We've been seeing them really lean into some of the strengths that what we've, like, Burram can be chaotic at times, but they're also starting to find ways to play into the chaos, to start making sure that, like, be chaotic whenever it benefits them, not just all the time.
They're not quite as, you know, wheels off the bus as we've seen them in the past.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more measured now. They've at least got some lug nuts on the wheels, so they're holding on and they're trying to keep that thing steady. Look, I think we only saw, like, I would say, like a quintessential Buriram game in the first game when they fought BBL for some of that control of the space. Yeah. Outside of that, I think they've been relatively measured. They're taking fights at decent times. They're holding their positions well. They're holding the ground. Look, no one doubts the mechanical talent on Buriram. They're freaking nuts. But the problem with them used to be that their metagame, their decision-making at times was lacking. They weren't able to always put themselves into good positions because, frankly, they're kind of messing around, trying out stuff, seeing if it'll work. And in the long run, that's not going to benefit you in a tournament. But now they've kind of solidified things. Their coaching seems to have really improved, and their overall mentality and how they approach the game has significantly improved.
I just want to give everybody a heads up. Yes, we're not directly into game. Usually when you see us, we jump right into game, but we want to make sure competitive integrity is at the highest, especially when there's only 10 games. So give us 1 second. We're just looking into something, making sure everything is perfect moving into this last game. So you got to deal with a little bit of a PUBG podcast for a second, but hey, at least it's not the worst, right? You know,
we haven't devolved into anime talk just yet, so we're not in the worst stretches of this.
Chainsaw Man is awesome. But I gotta say, we've been seeing quiet from some of these teams that I was not expecting. I don't like to pick on teams that are down to the bottom of things, so I was expecting more of Entropic, though. I feel like that was a team that has a lot of success into it, and sometimes just the chaos of what's going on inside of the games can be hard to manage, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them start to make a climb, but hey, I told everybody to be patient, and I think that patience is going to pay off, Paper, because it looks like we're going to be moving into game in just a second.
All right, one more Miramar to go, my friend, and then we are done for the day here at PGC.
Moving into it, let's go ahead and get that plane up in the air and get everything taken off. The halfway mark for losers bracket number 2. We've been seeing some massive plays, and the teams that are looking to try to get into that top 4, they cannot relent. They need a big game now, and if you're at the top, people are still chasing you. You can't stop.
Exactly. You got to keep that pedal down. You got to go full speed to make sure you can get into the grand finals. Be one of those top 4 teams. Again, here in the losers bracket 2, the only thing that matters is top 4. Everything else puts you into the grand survival, which no one wants to be a part of because that is a win or die situation. So
what do you mean? All of these players loved winner chicken dinner so much. They're super excited to play inside.
Look, I will say the grand survival is one of the few times where the winner chicken dinner format is fun for viewers.
It's gonna be pretty lit.
The pressure is outrageous for every game because all that matters is that you win. So I will say it is one of the few times where, as a viewer, you will be on the edge of your seat, no doubt. So look forward to that. I want to talk about Entropic just a little bit more since you were talking about them earlier. I want to kind of delve a little bit into their storyline, assuming Smash doesn't do Smash things and get a knock here. How is it always BBL?
I don't know. It's like they're in Chumacera, for God's sakes. It's not like they're just in the...
Ну, нифига себе, уже игра идет. Вау, дэм. Реально? Перерыв 10 минут перед последней игрой. Насколько это круто. Поэмы. Со старта в центре, получается, да?
Well, looks like we're gonna see that potentially polished off. I don't think that New Happy will commit into this, but
А Смэша, походу, не спасут.
Wildcard does play into the north, so they're actually in the center of the circle at the start. So good chance.
Ой, какой же мощный диггери, конечно. Ё-моё. Вот Хикари нормально ж руки держит. Нормально. Вот, например, Грег. Как он кулак держит? Алло! Ты кому-нибудь так ударишь, руку себе сломаешь. Ё-моё. Что это такое? Это он будет бить, и у него вот это...
You want to ever have happen again if you're CC. You had Noadra dead to rights, but even Noadra able to spray as much as he did before CC was finally able to take him down is that's the one you'd like to have back as CC. But hey,
4 команды в финал идет, остальные в Last Chance. Все.
Anyway, Entropic, hey, they're on the screen. I could talk about them. So coming into this, like they've been really down. I mean, obviously.
Может, кофе заказать у Марии Викторовны, а то я сейчас усну, мне кажется. Собака уже нажрался, наверное, и на ковре дрыхнет в блевотине своей, ё-моё. Простите за подробности.
Пошел нахрен, я только пришел.
Да, у тебя всегда так. О, я только пришел, а сам там сидит уже полчаса, наверное.
It's been up and down again here at this event, right? They do great the other day. Here now today, not so good. And again, it's hard for them if they can't find those good rotations, if they can't find that open space early game to avoid fights. Because the early game fights is where we see them time and time again kind of fall apart.
Я задолбался специально пиво растягивать.
Ты уже 8 бутылок выжрал?
Нет,
2. Так, надо спросить, что там кто. Ща у Чепуха спросим.
You know, kind of figure things out and make a run at this, but right now, last place, 5 points. It's not looking good, Matrim.
Yeah, silver linings.
Yes.
It's not hard to climb, right? Everybody's down in the muck with you.
You can put up a 32-point game, right?
Well, I mean, at this point, really just wiping a squad moves you up several positions. And we're going to see a lot of that moving in as some of the safety, this early play might have to start coming off as we move into these later stages. Last game of the day, no surprise, it's kind of quiet. Nobody wants to go out. Last day, first team out, right? Because that's where you're like, morale is going to take a smidgen of a hit. One of the teams we haven't actually got a chance to talk about either a whole bunch is Sonics. Sonics are chilling down in 12th place right now.
Сейчас посмотрим, что Чепухарти ответит.
Mixed reviews depending on how things have been going forward. We know that this is a team that can just do a lot, but it's also a team that right now they've been having to do a lot of reactionary thinking.
Yeah, no, I think that's well said. And
Кое мы уже на 4-й строчке, блин.
most of their 15 points, if not all of it, came in the first couple games. So since then, they've been quiet.
Ой-ой-ой-ой.
When we were kind of in between games here, you know, Tiggleton, I saw him come over and
Надо им собраться, вот сейчас вроде как должны с этой зоны нормально отыграть. Мне как кажется.
You cannot take anybody on Sonics and break their mental. They're just always going to be happy. It's like, yeah, they'll get disappointed about different stuff, and you can see it on their faces for a period of time, but they bounce back really, really quick. I will say, though, if you told me that Sonics was in 12th, was going to be in 10th, moving into loser bracket 2 at the halfway point.
Сейчас как выиграют игру с 30 фрагами.
No, this is this leaderboard is a
Потом проснуться и будут думать, какой состав собирать.
And this is punishment from Ming Ming. Of course, who else for New Happy today? I mean, I will say this for New Happy.
Жестко Минг, конечно. Смэш его работал.
in moments like this, in games like this, in situations like this. So Ming is that superstar, and he has been great for New Happy today. But like you were just mentioning, right? Teams that were not expecting to be this far down on the leaderboard. You mentioned Sonics and Peril. New Happy, one of them. Yeah.
New Happy's in 8th. It's not like they're massively better right now. They're at least, I guess, in the top half. Expendable's going to take some shots at Canaxi, as we saw Sonics were pretty close to their rotation.
Оптимист стреляет.
In the south for this circle. Nobody's sharing my enthusiasm for Oasis. It looks like that area just north of San Martin is where everybody's wanting to go. Not even breaking into Chumaseri yet, and that's no surprise. Chumaseri can be kind of painful to leave.
Yes. It can be, for sure. And everybody's trying to set up right. If you look at your map, you can see that everybody's set up south of the Oasis Mountain. The reason being that mountain is land ratioed. So eventually circles, generally speaking, like to move underneath that mountain. Again, they don't have to. We've seen plenty of circles that do stuff.
You're right, they don't have to. They can go to Oasis anytime
they can go anywhere they want. Yeah. Exactly. And so, but the teams have to prepare for what is most likely, and you are going to see them set up underneath it. And then they're also going to be east of the craters, over by the crater fields. Why? That rightmost, or I should say easternmost crater.
Ох, этот пабг.
Land ratio, so it likes to move away from that in the long run.
Я не могу.
There still is opportunity for the circle to go anywhere. So if you want it to go somewhere, just pray for it in chat, and maybe, just maybe, you can get your wish.
Early in this is also a lot to look at, because this is an extremely vertical area of the map. You can see catching some airtime. Thank you, Saver, for pointing out what's going on. There's so many high points and just areas you can't really even traverse. They're going to create independent choke points. If we see this stay into the south, this is going to lead into some very problematic rotations for teams. I mean, the area just over in Crater Fields and coming into that, those hillsides, you're going to get a lot of vision, but you're also going to have a lot of problems. Specifically, if you do get that high ground, like you can see, I think it was James that we saw way up there a second.
Ой, Тандерлос чуть не приехал, но там кто-то из перо поторопился, мне кажется. Они подошли, могли сделать фраг, не получилось, отошли.
I never would have suspected.
Surprised.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, though. It can be really tricky to move through the middle part of this circle, where teams like Entropic and Wildcard are. There's a lot of valleys, so a lot of teams are going to be set up on the tops of those valleys early to get information, to scout things out. And then when other teams try to rotate through their space, they have great angles to take shots down on top of them. So a lot of this is going to come down to,
Поэмы хотя бы, блин, в этой сетке хоть кого-то убили нахрен, не то что в групповой стадии. Вообще ужас, конечно, там они поиграли.
This is where you get to choose whether you're a good person or a bad person. What? A good person wants it to go down to the south, so all the teams don't have to move much, and everything is safe.
Блин, хотелось бы увидеть нормальную игру от New Happy тоже. Прям очень слабо что-то. Best of 6. 10 игр. Сегодня 5, завтра 5.
Не, ну если New Happy очень слабо, то как тогда Соники сыграли?
Ты хитерочек.
Which are, we're blessed with that. Lociones circles may be the best circle in these. I mean, how many awesome finishes have we seen in Lociones?
То full право или центр?
Думаю, левый будет. Центр получается. Ладно, хоть не верхняя часть.
Так она еще уйдет вверх, наверное.
Нет, я имею в виду не hard shift вверх, не на Азис.
Так там сейчас нормально наверху.
Я понимаю, что нормально, но там в канале бы сейчас была. Кстати, может быть, это было бы интереснее.
Наоборот, было бы интереснее смотреть.
Хотелось бы увидеть хорошую игру от вас.
Не, ну как Соники-то я даже сейчас сыграю.
Side seat shooting for Taman. I mean, that could have been really dangerous for Bagel Pop, and now they've opened up this compound for themselves. There was only one here for Entropic. They were going for a 2-1-1, and Bagel Pop recognizes it, or at least feels, it's likely enough that there's only one there and takes advantage of it, so they are going to secure that spot for themselves. Now, in the long run of things, we'll see if that, is going to be a spot that stays in circles, or if they're going to have to move. I'm going to tell you right now, if they have to move out of that, can be tricky. We'll see if it comes to that. Tai Lu out far east side of things, making a very wide circle. They might, They might go all the way down towards Hacienda.
Hacienda, San Martin are still inside the circle, so not the worst idea.
Что-то такую себе позицию question марки выбрали, конечно. Они ж потом отсюда просто не выходят. Это конечное, все.
Меня немного смущает, что Данте один остался еще в кемпе.
Да, он выехал. Ну,
хотя бы 2-2 бы сели с помойками, что ли.
Хер знает. Ну вот, Данте решил в помойке. Поймает ног, поймает ног, опять начнется суета, да, машинам жопа, у него там есть мотик у Адоуза, окей, но типа хер знает. Типа на второй фазе туда заезжать, это просто, ну, хз. Максимальная ошибка, на мой взгляд. Мало того, что ты там сидишь, терпишь, так еще и все машины тебя херят. И потом оттуда не выехать ни хера никуда.
Ну, зато велика вероятность зоны наебала.
Ну, не знаю, не знаю. Это all-in получается. И если тебе на ривере ничего не пришло, то извини меня.
is running a 2-2 split over here. Petrichor Road actually running, I believe, a 2-1-1 separated out all over that hill of the northwest of San Martin. So circle goes there. They're going to have a lot of control on what we're going to be looking at. It's almost like some the spectators know where I want to go. But yeah, look at the control over this area that they have. I mean, if you're looking at a team that probably has the most territory under their thumbs right now, it is going to be them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. This is
ну, это all-in хотя бы с дро.
I mean, we see this a lot in this event where these wide splits, we just saw it, right? We just saw it in the Tropic. They got punished for a similar, less ambitious split, but they still got punished for it. Petrichor Road, though, I mean, individually, you know, one of the best teams we have here. We've seen him, Ming and Eggs left in particular, but no long, no slouches at all. And, yeah, well, it's going to go hard to the east now, and so things get a little bit more spicy. Teams on the west, like Pegopah, who just had to fight for that territory.
И чё вы будете делать, question марки? Сидеть на краю?
Интересно, ТЕшки будут стакаться или будут охуевать?
Соники двигаются.
That's the only thing that can really go down with it. Teams that were already in this area get to move in much more comfortably. You can see that FaZe getting into circle quite early. They're just going to be to the northwest of Water Tree.
FaZe тоже рановато сюда приехали, хотя, может быть, над ними никто и не встанет.
Still driving. Sooner or later, they have finally managed to make it in the safe zone. So congratulations. It's been a hot minute.
Ну ладно, это ног без продолжения. Ну, Тайлу тоже что-то как-то. Хотя с этого гаража играть можно, но его пушить, конечно, легко очень.
Да никому его не надо будет пушить. Его никогда никто не пушит.
Thunder lost out in the open, should be knocked. Yeah, he's got the first. Code Marco is there to provide, and Quetpa with some cover.
I mean, this is way out. This is that area that we saw Petrichor Road holding down beforehand. They evacuated out of it. They're moving down into Tyloo's positioning, but good job from Sia. Going to go ahead and take the shots to discourage that.
Ну, как они так успели развернуться, блин, ну вообще.
Нихуя Гекс охреневший.
А он, видимо, знает, что тут два нока. И смеши у них в начале убивали вроде. Видимо, они знают, что их трое.
Ну, видимо, все знают. А хуй-то куда поехал? Ой, в смысле, Quaitpa.
Even though they've been fighting, most of the time they've been coming out on top of those fights in the early part of the game. It's just late game, they can't really find their footing to get some serious points beneath them. Still 23 is not bad, but the problem with this lobby right now, Matchroom, is the top is so darn heavy. Yep. Everybody underneath is just clinging.
Будку, походу.
Которая на дороге, да не похоже.
Да нет, которая...
Хорошая идея, стопнул, кайф, очень найс. Красава.
А зачем? А встану-ка я тут, даже не поеду на платошку, ничего, просто на дороге что-то встал. Опа.
Если это ей сейчас не стакнется, им пизда.
Не могу найти ТЕ нафиг.
Ну они в цветных сидят и в сосиске. 2.20 потом.
Sonics, this is an important moment here for the Sonics. They need to get in the circle. They need to find
Let's go, Sonics! Вперед!
А куда они?
Будку, к Джимзу. Давайте все вместе, втроем, в будку к Джимзу.
You about to have a bad time. You need to take some shots, and he's starting to discourage out of here. But they realize it's only one person. They want that. James does get a knock onto one of them. It's going to be Tickleton.
Они послушали твой совет.
Хорошо сыграно. Че съебало Тогл-то? Че не орешь войс? Как обычно.
Не, ну ты хейтер, конечно, тут еще я не могу по сдержанию сидеть. Что ты? Ё-моё, токсик. Ой, вот это они. Лучше бы на краю где-нибудь подрались, блин.
That grenade was a little bit closer, could have been dangerous. However, able to escape much damage. QBE coming alive for Entropic now, and yeah, that's going to be wiped between the forces of GEX and Entropic.
Great, you guys won that fight. Now you have to deal with Question Mark and GEX. You have to deal with at least two members of the Expendables. To see how that one's going to go, as Freaks are now loading up inside their vehicles, they're going to wrap around Water Treatment Hillside. First opportunity that's going to be shooting at them. OP, who you just saw had a very good coordinated firefight coming out for them. Tropic just can't.
Плюс фраг для question марков.
Still harassing on one side, question mark on the other.
It's just third parties on third parties over there, and
I mean,
for everybody else in this lobby, they're breathing a sigh of relief that it was at least Bagel Pa that went down first. The Freaks trying to find.
Ну больше некуда. На нахер. На нахер! А что за алкаш там вообще машину вел?
Он, видимо, не понял, куда вставать. Ну, не помнит, где стопать, типа. Случайно пролетел.
Мне кажется, он так якобы решил прочекать, если кто-то снизу или нет.
Не, он просто пролетел случайно. Там видно было.
Жесть, алкаш.
Что там чекать? Они, типа, ну... Видно же было, что целенаправленно на дорогу едут.
Я не понял, это Тайлу что, про New Happy не знают или что?
Сейчас и гиксы, и куэмы знают, что ТЕ уехали.
New Happy, что за бесхребетность какая-то у них? Жесть.
But there's still some more shots coming out from it. You can see problems are going to be mounting. Freak's trying to get some more, or Freak's trying to get some more back onto this one. Hikari's at least going to take down one with him. That's going to move them up the leaderboard quite a bit, as now they're going to be tied up with Tyloo.
Да, и Куэма, и Гиксы тут заехали в тему.
He's at least able to steal a kill. The fighting continues for GEX, but this time it's QM.
Посыпка у Куэмов пошла.
Grenade from Savior is going to finish the job. Yan Lee got knocked. I can see Wildcard starting to think about maybe getting involved in this fight. I think if there's Well, there's already a couple knocks into GX. I think they have a pretty decent opportunity maybe to get into this.
Yeah, Adam and Nikos were in vehicles and starting to head out to the east, and we're like, no, wait a minute. Let's go back into this. Now they're sending the vehicles right up next to this firefight. They're going to jump in. Waika Kamukau is going to be coming in back behind it. There is a plethora of kills to be picked up here right now. GX realizing what's going to be going on. They say, okay, we've got to start trying to flush these out as fast as possible because freaks are going to go down. That's going to open up something for Tyloo. What can they make out of it? Wildcard now making...
Ну, Данте ГГ тебе.
Я представляю, что сейчас думает Данте, типа, а долбоёб, который вот в аквариуме, он что вообще делает?
Tyloo was picking up kills moving into this one, but it looks like Petrichor Road found their defensive line. They're going to hold it.
Тайлу вообще рассыпалась в секунду, ё-моё.
With this, the southeast now belongs to Petrichor Road. Firefight still going up with Wildcard. It's going to be GX using the smokes. They're going to step out of this and say, this might be a little bit bad. Savior's going to drop on.
Да, тебе на ход молик дали, алкаши все горят.
Shotgun's going to be coming out. Adam's going to go ahead and get flushed. SSR is trying to be holding it. We've got firefights going on all over this building. Back and forth.
Ладно, никто не загорелся в итоге. Но молик был прямо себе под ноги.
В любом случае, они все умирают дальше.
Но у них еще машины есть. Машины есть, дорога есть еще на самом деле. Это не так.
Там уже негде играть.
Как, на дороге? На дорогу спуститься?
Там на дороге можно только в ЛГ играть.
Ну да.
Хотя еще есть часть зоны. Но там фейс уже стоит.
Ну что там ID1?
That's not going to matter. The nade's going to connect. Wildcard had themselves a good last game, but going to go out kind of early in this one. Circle's going to reveal itself. No man's
Там обидно, что тиммейтов не выпускают.
Тиммейты уже не уходят из будки.
This is going to be tough for Petrichor Road. They want to get the points from FaZe, who are in a just awful position there down at that shack, because they are likely going to have to either wrap to the other side of the hill where FaZe's 80 kind of is, or they're going to have to crash TE. There isn't much else going on inside of the circle, Matt. It is very flat and it is very not fun to play in.
Есть ощущение...
Remember, we saw that there was the push that came out from Sonics. OP was holding this down. Now you can see that FaZe has gotten control over it. You at least get to avoid what's happening in the high ground firefights, but looks like Petrichor Road is just wanting to try to defend this one out because both teams wanting to get that small area of the cliff facing that drops down to move into this next safe zone. So they're just going to have to fight for it. Looks like FaZe on the receiving end of a lot of the damage, but it's going to be 8C that does get the drop onto Mill.
Нормально нокнул.
That's breathing room. Maybe they can make the escape. Diggory was down to almost no health and able to get a heal off and start.
Если Диггери дойдет до камня, то они убьют пирожек.
As Petrichor Road, Ming got knocked to the blue.
Oh, that is terrible timing. Spindables now starting to harass FaZe, making it to that hillside, and it's going to be problematic because they got Petrichor Road on the other side. Now just 8C, the only one up. The CES now using the opportunity, trying to send into GX's position, hoping the distraction is going to be enough, but it looks like it might.
Что делают Церберусы? Они хотят сдохнуть от ТЕшек? Алкаши, что ли?
Все нормально, камень, эту зону еще поживут.
А дальше что, все? Да и эту зону там терпеть будут, мама дорогая. Слушай, еще что, даже машины целые?
Okay, we've talked about not having a lot of cover inside of circles. That kind of has been the theme of today. Well, that's going to continue.
This is the worst of the bunch.
And we're still only at circle 6.
Пирожки тоже умирают.
Так, арти будет.
That TE has. It's just if the circle's on you, you basically won the game, unless you don't do something.
А ты его предупредил, что мы будем играть еще хуже, чем обычно?
Я буду нормально играть.
They're at least in the circle, they're alive. I mean, you know, they were maybe hoping that they could get up to GX's position, which is a little bit safer, but they cannot. Fortunately for them as well, GX can't really push that way because of TE's sightline.
With the replay, I just realized we now know where Poro's used car's spot is at. It's right there. You saw all the cars outside.
You found it.
Found it. It's on Miramar. I always knew it was going to be on Miramar. So,
who's managing the car lot since he's not there?
We asked him about that. Apparently, one of the rats. So
the rats.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
great.
GEX now trying to stretch out. The circle's going to reveal itself. Petrichor
Вообще, в теории гиксы могут еще и выиграть.
Wait, how could it be a rat if Kickstart is here?
У них есть там сломанная тачка на дороге и микробугор.
Я договорился, короче, на 8:30 по Москве. Через час 10.
А что, еще позже нельзя было?
Так этот чепух все равно тоже отдохнуть хочет. Я тоже, наверное, отдохну сейчас.
Ну так ты понимаешь, что ты договорился с ним, ну, через час 10, он придет через 2:20.
Да не. Ну тогда мы будем плотно его кошмарить, чё.
Тогда я уже не пойду нахуй играть.
Да ладно, что ты. Я думаю, он будет. Раз договорились.
С Артиксом это не работает.
Ну чё, пацаны, давайте, ГГ. Да сдохли бы вчетвером за зоной, куда вы пошли? Они надеются, что у противников патроны кончатся?
It's just going to be a matter of time for both of these teams unless they can figure out some things. CES, though, is on the receiving end from TE, GEX, and Petrichor Road every once in a while kind of jacking the boxes up that hillside, takes a shot or two, but it's going to be Smell that finally takes down Tycon, and it's just going to be a weathering amount of bullets and kind of whoever's going to luck into the kill as the CES is going to go down. And
Спасибо, похавали. Идеально подъехали просто, пацаны. Лучше бы въехали в сено и дрались бы на яйцах с чуваками. А что это было?
Maybe can open the door here for somebody to win this other than TE.
Where are they trying to go? Yeah, Levis is trying to hold this high area, and you can see Nature now starting to come out. 777 on the other side of it. This is just a quick crash. GEX coming in full on gusto. They're sitting at a ton of kills. They want to try to make it more, but the defensive...
И под этот шумок чувак из Пиро туда спокойно зашел. И фармит. Без брони, без всего.
So all of this destruction that's going on over here can be picked up, but it's going to be Jan Lee that gets to provide overwatch on whatever happens next.
If anybody can win this, it's this guy right here. Aches left, one of the best in the business, trying to find some seriously needed points. He's going to switch to the double barrel shotgun. Knows this is going to be a close range fight, but like you were just talking about, Jan Lee out on the fringes of this is inside of this circle.
It's all slow rolling right now. Looks like Ixlif has been spotted out. So now, shotgun's out, waiting.
Нихера там флешек залетело ему в кайло.
Shotgun flashbang, just pull the trigger anyway. Now just trying to counter, move around everything. The push is now coming in from the expendables. This is also buying some time for GE.
Хорош! А чё так лагает спектатор?
Still trying to follow it up and everything. He's got the Molotovs, gonna have to jump above everything because he's afraid of anybody coming through those windows. Expendables now step out. GEX is going to be eliminated, and it's all about Akesleft now.
It's a 1v2, and look at the footwork from Akesleft, the mechanics there to avoid the damage, to get up onto the desk, to allow himself to get a heal. He's going to try to check what's going on outside. I think he heard or saw a smell, going to cook the grenade and go for it. That is close range, and if it's on the money, it's not quite. Does a bit of damage. Now he's got some stuns, trying to push space.
Looking through, takes
Да куда ты?
tries to step away. Akesleft can't do it, so it's going to be the Expendables in the end. Controlling the longhouse, controlling the game, and walking away with the victory.
We talked about it earlier. These guys have been playing great all day, and it felt like it was a matter of time before they found the win. Well, here it is, Matchroom. The win comes through for the Expendables.
That was chaos at the end of it. You can see everybody.
Это же last игра, 5-я, да, была?
Да. Ну все тогда, через час мы с вами увидимся, народ. В смысле возможно? Что значит возможно? Нет, я с ними увижусь точно, не знаю как.
Ты-то да, а вот... Когда придет Артикс, это вопрос.
Так. Ладно, все, народ. Всем спасибо. Пока-пока. До встречи.